Hello, everybody. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to the stream. Today is the day. I hope you guys have been looking forward to this because I have. We are going to go through all of the weapons in Dune Awakening, and we are going to attempt to balance them. And we're not stopping the stream until we're done. I'm pulling up some notes here. I just realized I forgot to pull these up. Yeah, we're not going to stop till we're done. I think that we can do this in a relatively, it's going to take us hours, but I think we can do it in a relatively short period of time. So that's the plan for today. That's what we're doing. Hello, Nani. What's up, Neo? I see a bunch of people that were already waiting. Appreciate you guys being here. And the other part of this is like, I would love for this to be a we thing. I spend more time thinking about games and games design than any normal human being should. So hopefully I have a lot of really good ideas. But I definitely know that I do not have all of the good ideas, and I know that you guys have been thinking about this as well and have some very good ideas. So I would love your help. There's also going to be a portion that we're going to need to get some data from in game. And if you're around and able to help and want to help while you're listening or whatever, very much appreciate it. Mainly the data, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, the data I'm looking for when we get there is going to be with certain weapons. Let's take, for example, the Regis Disruptor pistol here. And we need to figure out what this weapon's DPS is. Now, you might think that you can take the rate of fire and figure out, that's how many bullets it should be shooting per minute. Rounds per minute is what RPM stands for there, or what typically would stand for. But we also know that there's a lot of stuff. Well, let me just show you. Okay, this says RPM 64. So 64 rounds per minute is about what this weapon should shoot. Now, I can tell you, because I've tested this before, that if you actually go to, so I'm going to start firing this, and I can tell you that even if you do this perfectly, I kind of double click there, it takes almost 9 seconds to empty 4 rounds. 4 does not equal 9. So we should be getting close to 1 round per second, and we're absolutely not. So we have 2 options, or this is really before now, but we have 2 options. We can either try to backsolve for whatever the RPMs stand for, or we can do the easier thing, which is which I'm going to do, which is simply hit a timer on a stopwatch and then start firing immediately. And then once the clip's empty, stop the timer and then say, hey, how long did that take? And then generally speaking, I actually haven't tested it now that I say it, but I think the reload times are accurate. They feel fairly accurate. I say that now. I probably should test them, but we're gonna assume that they are accurate, that they are correct on how long it takes to reload. I don't know. Let's see this. 1,000, 2, 1,000. That's about right. Yeah, I counted a little fast there. That's about right. So we're going to need to get those numbers so we can figure out the total DPS, the continual long-term DPS of a weapon. That will be something that is later, though. Let's go ahead and talk about what we want to walk through. Hey, Rodrigo, what's going on? Neo says they might be on same server. Might be on the same server. Oh, okay. Yeah, Neo, I think we might be. We're on the Anvil here. Is what I'm on right now. I'm on a couple different servers, but the Anvil is kind of the home for the guild. Okay. So, where do we want to start? So, I want to start because we're going to offer a lot of criticism, and there's going to be a lot of head-scratching moments, and I do want to acknowledge some realities because I think it's important to know this and to keep a bit grounded if we can. So, the other day, I was able to, with a bunch of other creators, to join their developer call, and I think there was 30 or 40 of us or something. I don't know, there's quite a few people, and we were able to ask the creative director, the guy in charge of all the aspects of the game that players really care about, we were able to ask him directly questions. What's up, Coconut? And I have been covering games for about 5 years now, and that was the first time I've been able to do that. That's what I want to say. Literally the first time I've been able to do that. Now, I know some other games will sometimes with certain creators, will allow them to ask them questions. I do not know of any game I'm sure there are other ones out there, but I literally do not know of any other game that would do a format or has done a format like that. That's not entirely true. It's incredibly rare. That's what I want to say. It's incredibly rare. So why do I say that? It was incredibly helpful, and it's, they can't answer every question that's thrown at them, right? So in theory, you have some people that are covering these games professionally, essentially reporters. That's kind of I know I'm a streamer, right? But they were willing to answer questions from essentially press, right? And some people maybe don't consider themselves that. I certainly do consider that is part of what I do. And that's an incredibly, incredibly positive thing. And it's hard to overstate how positive that is and how happy I am with that. Similarly, there are a lot of amazing things in Dune. The screen in front of you is an example. I mean, this is a beautiful view. Incredibly fun. There's a lot of incredibly great things about Dune. The other thing I want to acknowledge is that it is very hard to make a good game. Making good games, a lot of people will, without much thought, will just be like, yeah, it's super easy. Just, add the good things, don't add the bad things kind of thing. And, downplay what it takes to make a good game. What some of the things that Dune has done that has been absolutely incredible to me. Well, let's just go through some of the aspects of the game first off. Then we can talk about what's really good and what's really bad. Or really just what's really good right now. We're going to talk about all the bad for the remainder of these hours. I just want to establish a baseline. Music. So, or just let's just talk about audio in general. So to make good audio in a game, you want good background music. You want that going on. You also need audio effects. That means for weapons, for abilities, for anything your character's doing, if they're running versus walking, all of those things need to have different effects. They need to be good, hopefully. You also need to talk about environmental effects. Is there wind? Is there, some sort of ambient background noise in certain places that's not in others? That's just audio. Add in visual elements. All of the same things. And it's interesting because I actually I was listening to something Rodrigo sent me the other day, and I didn't know this because I haven't done a lot of playtesting with early versions of games. But apparently, if you don't add lighting elements with shadow, players will generally have a much worse view of the AI in a game because it doesn't feel as real, I guess, because there's not as much. I don't know, not as much movement or lighting or whatever. So I think that's interesting. So there's a lot of things that go into making a game feel good. There's also story elements. I think Dune crushes it on story elements. I think they crush it on audio too. Visuals obviously look great, I think. There's also level design, right? Like how various things are designed. In Dune, the number of secret locations, kind of hidden caches that you can find. They can't be too secret or no one will ever find them. Those are all amazing. And then there's also the actual game design, game systems, if you will. So that's all the lands rad. That's how you level up. That's a bunch of things involved. It takes all of those things to make a great game. And I just want to recognize that Dune has done a lot of these things very well. All right. I enjoy Dune. It is a game I like to play. Have played several thousand hours, would like to play a lot more. All right. Now with that, and this goes for even my friends, and my friends in chat can, the people that many of who I've met through the channel can very much attest to this. I will tell you, hard truths, and I hope and I kind of almost expect that from my friends, right? So if I'm doing something, if I'm out of line, Nani has been like, hey, I think you're wrong. I think you're out of line about this. Okay, cool. That's what I want. So we will be doing the same thing. I am treating the developers as if they were my friends. And if my friends act like an asshole or do something stupid, I will tell them. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. Not that anybody's, developers are acting like an asshole, but I just mean like I would literally do that with my friends. And in this case, if they're doing something, we're like, dude, what are you doing? We're gonna say so. All right. All right, baseline's established. I just wanted to start there, and then we could move on. I am going to be looking at some of my notes because I just want to make sure I don't miss anything here. Killer Tom says, just got here, but anyone else finding labs too hard after level 8 for the average player? One wrong move and you are dead. Tom, Yeah, that's a problem, man. We've talked about it quite a bit in the past. It usually depends on your gear and your combat level. As those goes up, it's going to get easier. There does reach a point where you just get one shot no matter what. Not no matter what, but even if you kind of build for it, which the problem is you can't really build for it as you're leveling up, Tom, because you haven't gotten the gear yet. But even once you get the gear at like level 19-ish, you start getting one shot by a lot of stuff no matter what your gear is, and it's very frustrating, and it's a problem, and it has been for a little bit. Rodrigo says one important concept from the video is fairness can't be proven with numbers; it's a feeling. All right, I don't know if that was a strong point that I took away from it. I'm sure it was in there. I believe you, but I'm not quite sure I'm following on that, Rodrigo. So if you want to elaborate, please go ahead. Hello, Christopher. Hello, welcome in, everybody. Okay. With that out of the way, what do we want to do for today? First off, we want to establish weapon identities, right? So what I mean by that is like, what does a given weapon, what is it supposed to do? What is its role? What does it make sense? We want to design parameters, basically, okay? So what we're trying to say is literally, like, let's pick a weapon. Doesn't matter what it is. Sword, okay? And we got the spike hilt. Spike hilt is a modifier on the sword. What should the sword feel like? What should it do, right? And we're going to establish those parameters largely from scratch. So if that doesn't make sense, it will once we start doing it. Don't worry. We're also going to establish at some point a baseline for damage. We want to do that as well. I think that's really going to help us. Like, hey, here's like a good damage level. Let's kind of, let's judge everything. This is the standard kind of damage, standard weapon maybe, the most average of weapons if we can, and then we can move from there. Okay, I think that's going to be helpful for us. We don't have to do that, but I think it makes a lot of sense to. It's a construct. It's a construct that we're adding for ourselves to make it easier for us in this design process. And then we also we don't. There's a design constraint on us with what we're doing today. Because I know, and hopefully you guys know from hearing me talk about it, that the developers do not have the bandwidth right now. I actually want to affect change on the game. That's what this video is about. And I don't expect the developers to watch this live stream, but I will take the concepts and everything we get from this, and I am going to make it into a shorter video that I do hope the developers will see. I can't promise that, but I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best. And because we want to affect change, one of the constraints that we have is that it just has to be changing the damage numbers largely. No, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm going to say. It can't change code. Okay. What we suggest today and how we figure out how to balance these things cannot and should not change the code. Because if they have to go in, and what I mean is like coding new things, like, oh, this weapon does this new thing that no other weapon does. Okay. We can't do that. Those are great ideas. Those might be great ideas, but they would take more development time than we know that the developers have, and we want to affect things to actually change now. Okay, that's what we're going for. So that is a constraint on this. We'll probably have to come in because I know people will come in and out, and so some people won't. We'll have to remind people this. I'm also going to ask you guys to be active in chat. Some of the stuff I have to keep rolling on. I'm not going to try to read every single. I'm going to do my best to read every single comment, but I'm going to get behind. If we can, there's a couple of people, and I'm happy to give a couple other people. If there's anybody who's always in the chat and you know who you are, who wouldn't mind being a mod and could highlight some stuff for me, I'm happy to give some people a mod status here on YouTube. Probably is the main place. Not a lot of people usually over on Twitch. Not that you can on Twitch, guys. I'd love your feedback. That's usually where Talith and some other people tune in from. But yeah, I am just going to try to keep on topic, and I need you guys to, if people ask the same questions I've already answered several times, help me out and reply to their comment and give them the answer, just because we're literally not going to have time for me to go through everything. All right. That was a lot of preamble, but I think it's important, and hopefully it's still entertaining. And then the last thing we need to do is we need to have fun while we're doing this, and I think we're going to do that. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Rodrigo says, so I asked him to follow up on his earlier comment where he was talking about from Rodrigo, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, which should be everybody but Rodrigo, sent me, so there's something called GDC, Game Development Conference, that is in California every year, and they during those, they have a lot of, it's just a conference for developers, and they have a lot of like informative like sessions, talks and stuff like that. People sharing their successes, things they've learned, and sharing their knowledge and stuff like that. And there are these kind of things for also at other places for other kinds of games and what have you. I have to look through. This is a couple days ago. So yeah, Rodrigo sent me one, and it was about balancing in Halo, and specifically with a sniper rifle. And what I would say is don't get caught up on the game. It doesn't matter if it was Halo. It was about balancing in games. And there was some really good info in there. So Rodrigo said one important concept was fairness can't be proven with numbers. It's a feeling. I think that game feel is really important, Rodrigo, and I asked him to follow up on that. The ideal is min-maxing numbers helps, but if a player doesn't feel something is fair, it doesn't matter. Like getting one-shot by enemies with the best armor in the game by a boss. Yeah, I'm a little bit more analytical, and I think you can get there from a couple different directions, Rodrigo, and so I would hesitate to say that's the only way, but I do think that was a cool thing to say. And it was informative and helpful for people. He said this isn't fair no matter how they explain the difficulty scales. Yeah, if something doesn't feel good, it doesn't matter what the numbers say. I think that's your takeaway, right? And I would agree with that. Hello, Maxwell. Maxwell says, we need bigger party groups or some way of seeing friends when there's more than 4. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I actually disagree on the last part of that. I like that it's a little bit hard to tell, but I am looking forward to larger group sizes in PvE content, Maxwell. Absolutely. Scorpio, hey man, quick question. I'm asking around if people know how to work around the detachment glitch. I cannot detach any vehicles in-game whatsoever. I'd appreciate it if you got any recommendation. Scorpio, I don't, man. I haven't had this issue. Does anybody have an answer for Scorpio? I'm sorry you're having that problem, man. That's not one I'm familiar with. What's up, Scott? Scott, a channel member here. I appreciate the channel members, Nani and Scott, both popping in here, guys. If you want to support the channel, it's the best way to do so. Super appreciate you guys. When Scott says, though, when playing War as a child, point and stick was a nuclear option. I think a good start would be dot scaling with weapon damage. Yes, dot scaling is going to be a topic. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, Rico has an answer for you there. It looks like a couple of people have thrown out a couple of them for you there, Scorpio. All right. So we established those things. Let's go ahead and start off with weapons. Guys, what's a weapon that you want to talk about? Pick a weapon. It needs to be a tier 6 weapon. We're talking about in-game, and we're probably talking about uniques. We can kind of do a little bit of both at the same time. But throw out, I think we can just talk about uniques for the most part because they're already in the game. So if there is a unique you want to chat about, throw it out there. A unique weapon that you want to talk about. Where do we want to start here? I am doing all this live too, guys, so I don't have, other than the notes, I'm through all of my notes. I have ran out of notes, so everything else from here is going to be fresh. So let me go ahead. One of the things we're going to do, interesting, is we're going to pull up, I pulled out Notepad, and I had like an old note from, I have no idea when or where or what, but it has a lot of notes on it. Okay. We're going to use Notepad. I know. It's crazy. So, let's pick our first weapon. Streaming until it's fixed. Are you wondering about that? Yes. If anybody's wondering about what I meant by streaming until it's fixed, we're gonna fix all of this stuff. So, what I mean is that we're gonna go until we've balanced all of the weapons. That's what I mean. I can't really control. Hopefully you guys knew that. I wasn't trying to clickbait anybody. I'm not like holding my breath until, I'm not like 12, like until they fix the game. I'm going to pass out if that happens. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, experimental lightning gun, the best I ever had. All right. Tornado says experimental lightning gun. All right. All right, we're going to put it here. This is probably way too small. Let me see if we can blow this up. I don't ever use Notepad. We're just going to go with title. Everything's going to be title. How's that? Is that big enough? Well, you can't even see it because there we go. There we go. We'll move it over here. We'll figure it out, guys. Give me a moment. All right, experimental lightning gun. We're going to leave it the huge font, I think. Oh, I got to tell it each time. we'll do subtitle here. So, experimental lightning gun. What are some of the? Can we tab over? All right. So what are some of the design parameters? Oh, is it getting nerfed tomorrow? That's really. Yep, the weapon was supposed to fire 3 shots, but it fires 6. That will nerf the damage instead of changing the shot count. Oh my god! All right, we're memeing here. So what are some of the design parameters for the lightning gun? So I think it's an alternative. This isn't exactly the best way to lay out a design parameter, but we're gonna just go with me here. So alternative, well, it's a shield breaking weapon, but alternative to other like shield breaking weapons. Yeah. Dude, this is going to be really annoying. I might hate myself by the end of this. All right, there we go. All right, so it's a shield breaking weapon. Yep. Weapon. What are some of the other things that are with it like make the experimental lightning gun what it is, or that we want in the experimental lightning gun? So, it honestly, in a lot of ways, should probably be the default weapon. So I would say that. So we are going to say this default, default shield breaking weapon. I think. What else are we interested in here from getting from the experimental lightning gun? So, and Tornado, you got to chime in here, man. This is your idea too. So make sure you're throwing out your thoughts on this. I think it should be something that can be used mid-range, right? I think mid-range is appropriate for this, and there's not really like a long-range shield breaking weapon, at least not yet. So I think that's one of the things to consider. I would say, most powerful mid-range. I think that's pretty reasonable. Let's say most effective. Maybe another way of saying this, essentially the same thing. We're kind of splitting hairs, but I like the language of most effective. Another one of the things that we want to talk about when we're talking about like these various design parameters and stuff, what we want from each weapon is we want it to be strong. We want it to be powerful. Okay. We want every weapon to feel like it feels good. That's the thing that Rodrigo was talking about. We want it to feel good that we're using this weapon. Okay. So we don't need to say this anymore. So alternative, because we actually want it to be the default. Okay, we want it to be, it's a shield breaking weapon. We want it to be the default shield breaking weapon, most effective in mid range. I would say another design parameter is because we don't want any one weapon doing everything, right? So it should be weak, I would say overall damage, right? It should be very effective against shields, but not nearly as effective against opponents, just as like a pure DPS, damage per second sort of thing. Verdict says, sent you a number of ELG in the Discord. If you need anything otherwise, disregard. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Just to pull it up. Yeah, I mean, I could pull it up, man. That works. Let me pull this up. Does anybody know the DPS on the experimental lightning gun? And I am not looking for it. Talith had some great stuff. And you know what? Talith, he has a spreadsheet and everything. I've looked at it, but I don't recall specifically if he had the non-augmented versions of weapons. I think he was largely calculating the augmented version. I'm looking for the tier 5 or G5, tier 6, unaugmented version. Are there any other? So I think this is fine. I think this is good here, unless you guys have anything else to add to this. Tornado says, only thing I really want changed is that I get repetitive strain injuries from clicking. Male semiotic guns keep shooting when I keep mouse button clicked. Keep the charge up time. So it stays balanced. Scott says rather than nerfing damage, it should have a chance to fully deplete your power pack or something. It is experimental after all. Whew. Whew. Well, I would say what we have here is a pretty good working prototype, Scott. So one of the things that Scott is hinting at here, and this is how I prefer to design games. Guys, give me just 1 second. I need to check on Mrs. Harrow has a broken foot. I just need to make sure she's good. Are you good, Mrs. Harrow?
But it's not my foot.
Ankle. Sorry. I'm getting heat for saying foot instead of ankle. All right. Yeah. So one of the things that I think is really important, or one of the ways I approach game design, and I find very helpful. You don't have to do this, but if you already have a story, if you already have info about a given weapon, or anything, right? Like if you have something in the game that kind of tells you how something should be done or how it should be effective, it really informs everything else you do. And that can be very, very helpful for making game, decisions about how to design a game, just in general. And so what Scott is pointing out is that, hey, it is supposed to be experimental. Where's the experimental part of this? The issue that I would have Guppy making it rain. $20. Thank you, Guppy, for the super chat. You've heard the chicken dance, but have you heard the bunny dance? Hop, little bunny, hop, hop, hop. I have not heard the chicken or the bunny dance. Lyra says, thank you for asking. I'll need to help with something before you're done, but I'm good for now. Okay. Guppy, guys, we are fundraising for the bunny cam right now, and if you'd like to see a bunny cam, you know what to do. Thank you so much, Guppy. Being very, very generous. Thank you. All right. So, it is experimental. So one of the issues we're going to have, Scott, is that if it does have some percentage chance of, this is kind of a cop out on my point, Scott, on my part. All right. But if it does have some chance of completely depleting your power pack, it's probably going to require some code. So I think it is going to go outside of that constraint. I also think that trying to figure out balancing that sort of randomness would also feel pretty bad in a lot of situations. What it could do, what could be interesting is if you fully deplete your power pack with it, maybe it takes extra long to you got to reboot your power pack type thing. That could be something that I think would also kind of go along with that experimental. But I think it being just RNG that randomly your weapon could just stop working. It's essentially adding weapon jamming into the game. And I don't think that that's going to be a very fun mechanic for most people. And I think it would lead to people just simply not using it. But I think what we can say is, what we can do. Let's do this, Scott. Let's say experimental needs to have some game effect. How about that? Because we're just trying to do broad strokes. All right, let's move on. We're taking too long. Let's move on to the next weapon here. Nobody's throwing out anything else. I will pick something, but you guys feel free to throw out the next one. Let's pick another weapon here, and let's go with something like maybe we'll just move this over. Bashar's Command. All right, excellent. Thanks, Bomb Home. All right, we're going with Bashar's Command. Hey, that's a great one. Somebody's in the guild hall. Thief. All right, so Bashar's Command. That's a great one. Excellent. So we are going to pull this away for just 1 second, and I might even shrink this down just a little bit. We're going to pull it away for just 1 second because I want to make sure that everybody knows what we're talking about here, and we get the feel part that what Rodrigo was talking about. I'm no thief, Slicer says. Oh, what's up? It's Rodrigo. All right, so let's take a look at Bashar's Command. And you know what? Let's pull out the experimental lightning gun as well. Do I have a plain one? I made all of these weapons just basic plain version at one point very early on to test them and everything. Yeah, so I still have a lot of them that I left unmodified. All right, so we will equip these. Let's throw on the experimental lightning gun. We can throw on the shell burster for later. And then let's throw on Bashar's command. All right, so Bashar's command. One of the things with what Scott was saying is, what is the feel? What is and what Rodrigo's point as well. Okay, so whenever you look at this weapon, first off, it makes you move slower. I'm moving slower. I'm moved this weapon, and now I'm moving slower, right? And it's so much so that there's even a passive. Oh, I was in the right place to begin with. There's even a slottable technique, rather, heavy weapon agility, which reduces the movement penalty down to 25% from I don't know, it's over 60. I'm not sure what it actually starts off is. So it's a significant reduction. Actually, running feels fine. That's a little bit slower. So it's a significant reduction in your overall speed. And the weapon looks pretty big. It's two-handed, right? And we call these guys heavies, right? Whenever we see them in, this is a far cry from a smaller weapon, okay? So, also, let me just show you real quick. This is the experimental lightning gun here, guys. So this is how it fires. So, what does this? I don't know. What does it evoke? Like literally, how does it make you feel? Right? Okay, so I tried buying Dune Awakening, and my bank flagged it for fraud. No. Oh man, it's been on sale a couple of times, FYI, guys. So it might go on sale again too for those looking for a deal. Yeah, Scott says Bashar's command. Every 5 shots, it throws out a homing stone. Oh. What does that mean, Scott? What do you mean by a homing stone? Maxwell says you can add expander, shield damage, and rapid fire, and it's decent. Well, Maxwell, we're just talking about the base weapons right now. We're starting with the base weapons, so that's actually a really good point, and we can talk about this as we go. So what we're trying to do, part of the design parameters we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out. The weapon augments are meant to be, I would argue they're meant to be just that, augments. It's a way of changing the core style and feel of a weapon. But what we want is we want the core weapon to feel good. And we want that to feel good. And then we modify and add the augments later. We can talk about augments. That's a really interesting and good conversation to have, but that's going to be like secondary, right? Let's get the core weapon into like an actual identity. So the problem with the Bashar's command, for those who don't know, is that the damage on it sucks. And generally speaking, this is also the problem with most weapons. So I can show you real quick. Actually, I will use Talith as a guide because all my notes are actually on a different computer, and it's I actually do all my editing and a lot of my normal work on a Mac. It used to be a Hackintosh. Now it's just a normal Mac. Let me pull up his spreadsheet. Oh, we're getting ads. Let me pull up his spreadsheet. He's got a great Google Doc here. If anybody hasn't seen this, you know what? I'll just link it for you guys, for anybody who hasn't seen it. One moment. Cool. So here he's got, this is a Google Doc. Let me drop it in chat for everybody. Yeah, that looks good. And then let me blow this up here. There we go. So I just want to make sure we're defining the current problem too. I should have done this earlier, in fact. So my apologies there. So Talith here has all of the damage rankings of all of the weapons, and this is an idealized situation using the current augments. And what we find, and he actually did, I think he mentioned to me the other day that he had done, he actually had on the sheet, I think he added the new augments that go live tomorrow. So the perforator, for example, actually goes back into first place, I believe. Pretty sure. Yeah. Let me make sure too that all the chats are showing. I'm a little bit worried now that I missed something. Guppy Soars says, Rabbit Commander and I heard it's extreme displeasure that I must announce my removal of viewership for this stream. I must nourish my body and that of my offspring. I bid you adieu, good sir. Well, thank you so much for the donation, Guppy. We're gonna try to get that bunny camp going. It's top priority. Top priority. I appreciate you. Thanks for dropping in. All right. Also, I like Bunny Commander as a title for myself. I might just keep that. Rodriguez says, I think we can look at damage numbers of any gun you researched the schematics of on a research menu, by the way. Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't want you to feel like you were doing something for nothing. Yeah, I'm not sure what the, like an angle grinder in relation to Christopher. Sorry, I missed that. All right. Scott says, or on the right click. Yeah, you can see it. On the right click, you deploy a shield wall and become unable to move. I know more code, but hard to polish a turd. Yeah. So triple shot perforator here. Perforator next patch is going to be back up. And also the perforator, there's things more than damage here, right, that are important. We've got plasma cannon, shell burster, and you can already see that. So the shell burster is like 10% off of the perforator here, and a little bit more off of the Regis triple shot. But then you start getting into these a bigger jump when you get to the Sardaukar Intimidator and a dart for every man, which is also weird, I will note, because these weapons are primarily shield breaking weapons. So it's really weird that their damage is so high. We'll get into that. Then you got Way of Misra, Bashar's Command down here. So Bashar's Command is, too, I would just note that, like, what is this? Another over 50% more damage, right? So Bashar's Command is doing 2/3 of the damage that the triple shot is. That feels pretty bad, I think. That's pretty crazy. So anything below, honestly, I would say probably the shell burster, anything below the top 4 weapons is like, and just talking about damage numbers, anything below that is pretty bad. Okay, you're talking almost, basically doing like 2/3 the damage of the top tier weapons. That's going to feel pretty bad in most situations. There are more compounding factors with these, and we'll talk about that. But that's going to feel bad. So pretty much everything that's not one of the 2 shotguns, maybe the plasma cannon and the triple shot, is just way down on the damage list. And when you consider the fact that the 2 shotguns also stagger your opponent, that's kind of wild, right? The 2 shotguns stagger your opponent, and none of these other weapons do, which in boss fights in PvE right now and in PvP, PvP is screwed right now. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but it's pretty bad. And then when you talk about the plasma cannon, it's this heavy weapon, and it's doing okay damage. Does decent damage. But there are serious drawbacks to using this plasma cannon that you don't have on these other weapons. And still the shotguns have that. Just the stagger on the shotguns make them so much better. They are fairly close range, and the triple shot, it can be very mid to long range, depending on how you... with this current build, it's more mid-range, but, with maximum damage here. But you can get comparable damage to a perforator with still pretty good range on it. So, kind of crazy. And then everything else below that, you're looking at like a major fraction of damage. It's pretty egregious is my entire point there, just to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page with it's not good. That is exactly the problem with all of these things. Okay, let's go ahead and pull back up so Bashar's Command. What do we want from Bashar's Command? Well, actually, I will pull it back up. One of the things we want is it's a big, heavy weapon. I would think that a weapon that looks like this would probably do the highest damage in the game. Big weapon does big damage. Does anybody feel strongly against that? And it shoots darts. I would really expect that because it does that, some of the weapons like the rocket launcher or whatever, it really, you're not supposed to use rocket launchers as anti-personnel weapons, generally speaking. It's usually not what they're used for. You can, but it's usually not their primary goal. It should be for something else. Nani says, I think of it more like a shield breaker. What I would propose, Nani, I think that's an excellent point. What I would propose, because that is what it does in PvE with like the heavy enemies. That's like their biggest issue. What I would suggest is that we actually use the plasma cannon as that sort of thing. So I would say that the plasma cannon should be our shield breaker version. I like that idea, but I would like the plasma cannon to be the shield breaker on this. Does that make sense? Does that seem fair? Scorpio says it takes too long to kill. By the time I get it going, I'm already dead because shield goes down. Yeah. So big gun. Krabby says big gun equal big damage. Maybe stops people in their tracks, locks them down. IMO. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, let's talk about both these weapons together because we kind of might as well. Because I think they're very similar. Let me get my notepad up here. So Bashar's command, and then let's also do for number 3. We'll do the let's change that to what is this called? Plasma cannon. Yeah, plasma cannon. All right. So, give a little bit more space here. I would argue, as I kind of already have, that Bashar's command, is there any other weapon in the game that you guys feel like should do more damage to a target? To me, it's the biggest weapon in the game. It has this really long spool up time, right? Like you hit the button and nothing even happens, right? Maybe you hit the button and nothing happens anyways. I can't seem to shoot. Okay, that was weird. It bugged out. Okay, so the other thing about these two weapons is there's a 3-second reload time, which I think is also one of the highest. Ancient Way goes a little bit higher, which also makes sense to me. This would, you could even see this. It makes sense for the Ancient Way. Is there any weapon? I would say that there's no weapon. Alzy, cool. Karpov, we can do that next. So I would say the las gun should do more damage lore-wise, Scott says. Okay. To personnel, Scott, I don't know about the lore on the las gun. Should it do more damage to personnel or more damage, period? Like, were las guns used to... I'm okay with that. So we'll put a pin in that. You can answer, but I think we can still kind of move along. So Gino says, or maybe oh no, I missed your first comment, maybe. So Alcy says, IRL, it would destroy a car, but not on Dune. Yeah. Plasma cannon. Nani says plasma cannon. Oh, I'm losing track. No, it's Rico. Rico says plasma cannon can't hit multiple enemies simultaneously like rocket launcher can. You couldn't use it in place of a rocket launcher where you use rocket launcher in 152 when you're running with a group. Well, Rico, we're not talking about specifics, man. We're talking about overall concept design right now. So we're talking about the overall. What does it feel like it should do? I'm with you on that. But we're like, what does it feel like it should do? I think it should be so. I think it should do the most damage out of pretty much any other weapon in the game, or at least very close to it. It's going to be high. It's going to be very high, the damage it does. Baumholm says it should have a higher rate of fire, much bigger clip, but it should overheat. Okay, so all right, it should overheat, bigger clip, higher rate of fire. Those are good things that feel. So we're trying to abstract this a little bit more, guys. Thank you, Rico. We're trying to abstract this a little bit more. We're not actually getting into the details of how to change it. We want the design parameters. What do we want this to feel like? That's what we're trying to do right now. I think it's the biggest weapon in the game. Big weapon does big damage. That's what I'm going to say. Big weapon, big damage. We're gonna. I think someone typed that in chat a second ago. All right, so big weapon, big damage. What else do we have? So we want to be able to like, every action movie, right? Like, Rambo or like whatever, right? Whenever someone gets a machine gun, that a machine gun of some type, they should they're always like shooting, and they're shooting for forever, right? I would also say that like this is kind of a minigun type weapon, which does have a very high rate of fire. Yeah, so let's go with like lots of bullets. Um, and then I think a high rate of fire feels good. Uh, this is getting in a little too much in detail, but we're going to do it anyways. I'm kind of breaking with what I just said, but high uh, rate of fire, and the other thing here is what else should the Bashar's command do? What else should this big heavy weapon do? I think it should be able to like a lot of times they could be used for suppressive fire. So suppression weapon. So I don't know how to spell suppression apparently. And the game's not, or the, hey, two piece. All right. Anything else that we really have in here? Also, let's go ahead and do this. I see people throwing in chat, and this is super helpful. You guys keep it coming. We want Karpov next after Plasma Cannon. And then after that, we're going to do, what was another one? Flamethrower came up. Flamethrower. All right. We'll put that in there. Cool. Oh yeah, and las gun came up as well, so we can put that in there. We're kind of going through the heavy weapons, which is good because yeah, they're the biggest problem right now, right? They're really kind of jacked up. All right, and if I miss anything, guys, do me a favor. Yeah, Rodrigo, they do. If I miss anything, let me know. Just type it in again, or give me, I don't know. Magazine capacity. Christopher says, in-game lore, theory, las gun shield. Yeah. Rico's dropping some signs on the lore of you guys. I'm not going to go through it right now. I am aware of it. The flamethrowers could use some work. Teammates will die if you spray them by accident, but bosses barely take any damage from it. Will teammates die from the flamethrower? Spams get some in chat when you fire it. Oh my God, yes. All right, Scott. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. That's what I want. This is a little bit of like almost a Helldivers thing, right? This is one of the things that that Helldivers get so well is like it just the feel of the weapon feels so great so often. They really focus on it. Okay, so I'm just gonna quote that, man. Spam get some in chat when firing. Okay, I think that really helps us because these are a little bit too. They're not really design parameters. They're like actual action items. But this communicates like what we want this weapon to feel like. Big weapon, big damage, a lot of bullets, essentially a high rate of fire. Like I'm trying to think of other ways of saying this without getting into the details of what we want the weapon to feel like. And I'm struggling a little bit to think of stuff. I'm gonna die of dehydration here if I'm not careful. I might have to go back inside. All right. Yeah, I think we're okay here. We'll go ahead and move on. We only got so much time. All right. So, plasma cannon. What about the plasma cannon? Because I think we want some of the same things. I would argue that the plasma cannon should be the shield breaking version. Of Bashar's command. Does that sound reasonable to you guys? Does anybody disagree with that strongly? I think it should be the shield breaking version. Generally speaking, in Dune, like whenever you're firing these energy weapons, they're there to disrupt shields. So I would say that all of these things apply, but they apply to breaking shields. Right? I think suppression as well is going to be pretty key. Oops. Is going to be pretty key. Oh gosh. Sorry, trying to use the wrong hotkeys. I think that this is really informing a lot. I think this is, it's number 4 on the list, but I think these last two things are really some of the more important things for the Bashar's command. So I think those things are true for the plasma cannon. Is there anything that we would like to see? Any other like design parameters? Oh, you know what? I would say that we want. I would say we want a bit of a high risk reward in relation to the amount of. So we're having to use energy to fire the plasma cannon, right? And I think there should be some sort of risk reward with keeping up enough power and making sure the weapon has enough power. Casual, it should happen tonight to destroy everything. Yeah, actually tomorrow morning, technically, right? Grabby says better AoE damage. You see grouped enemies and want to use the cannon. But that's similar to the Bashar's command. It's a good point, Grabby. I agree, but I think it's kind of the same as the Bashar's command, right? A bit. Christopher said, "What if the plasma cannon would stagger like a shotgun?" Yeah. So I would argue that those are specifics, guys, of suppression. Is what I would say a lot of that is. Maybe not to your point as much, Krabby, because you're saying, hey, grouped enemies. Let's add. We could add here like group utility. Let's do it that group utility. How about that? Let's call it group utility, because group utility, when I'm thinking of when I think of group utility, I use it in groups. I use it against groups. That's the kind of usefulness of this weapon. Rico says running a heavy weapon should feel absolutely terrifying at range, but if you get close, but if you can close the distance, I'm vulnerable. Yeah. It shouldn't make you too vulnerable. Why shooting? Why not, Rodrigo? I'm actually fine with that part. People will tend to target those who have like larger weapons. Okay, so shield breaking version of Bashar's command. I honestly think that we could just stop there. I'll just say this. Let's say interesting power. How do you want to say this? Power management, I guess. I don't know. Just interesting power management interactions. That's not how you spell interactions, is it? Maybe it is. All right. I think that's good. Yeah. Well, yeah, power management. I just want to say, yeah, I'm kind of trying to key a little bit. Yeah, we're on the same page, Krabby. That's just now popping up, but I know you said that before I got into it. Okay. I think that's cool on these two. We've got some design parameters. How about the Karpov? What about the Karpov? What do we want to do here? Yo, what up, Rev? What's going on, man? All right. Karpov, I think, so the Karpovs are essentially the assault rifles, right? And if we look at modern military, we would say that like the assault rifle for the modern militaries is the go-to weapon. I would suggest that this is the default weapon. I would suggest this is what most things should be balanced around. How do you guys feel about that? All right, Rodrigo says, you're right. I'd have to test using it on that roll using terrain in half cover. Yeah. Doing good watching for a client. Just get off work so can take her home. Nice. Slicing, no slicing. Yeah, so I think it should be the default weapon. I think that it's essentially an assault weapon. We want to keep that in mind. Let's actually put that here. assault weapon. Let's put that here. I think that's going to be important for us to just keep that in mind for everybody. And then we can also put like mini. Let me see, mini gun slash heavy machine gun. Yeah, just so we remember what type of weapons these are. And we can actually do this also for the plasma cannon here. Oh, God. All right. I guess that copy paste didn't work. I probably just used the wrong hotkey. Hey, there we go. Okay. What else for the Karpov? It should be the best mid-range weapon. I don't even know if this is good. I don't know if that's a good design parameter, but we're just going to go with it. We're playing a little fast on this. We got to keep moving. Yeah, mid-range should damage between perfect interpreter and a decent range. Yeah, so best mid-range weapon. That's funny. Okay, so Alzy, we're on the same page here. I don't think the melee should balance something up to it. I'm not. Yeah, Krabby agrees. It's a baseline weapon. Yeah, default gun, I suppose. Rico says. Yeah. Karpov, an assault rifle is select fire. Being able to change from semi, burst, full auto would be nice. Oh, that's a good point. Again, Scott, excellent point, man. Probably going to go outside of the parameters of what we're talking about. But how do we want to say this? How would we abstract that a little bit? What is the idea here? It should be a versatile weapon. How about that? I don't know how to spell versatile. And versatile. There we go. An A. There we go. I would agree with that. Its best mid range should be a versatile weapon. That's kind of what you're getting at, I would say, with some of those different kinds of being able to have like different rates of fire, essentially. Need more variants, multi-role weapon platform. Drac, yeah. So it has several. They just suck. But we're trying to talk about like more general. You're right. You're not wrong. It's just not quite where we're at right now. KOOG says, can we have a good full auto Karpov? We're getting one. Uniques being burst, semi-auto is so disjointed for the basic version being full auto. They don't even feel like the same guns. Well, we're getting one next patch. So tomorrow you'll have it. Triple OG. So I think it should be a very versatile weapon, best mid-range, and kind of the default. I don't know. Praise be, yeah. All right, I think that's good. And you know, we could actually say, well, yeah, let's just leave this here because we'll talk about all the Karpovs together, and we'll have to break these out and we'll have to throw out a couple more. All right, I think that's decent. What about the Flamethrower? What do you guys want from the Flamethrower? Is the question. How do you see the Flamethrower? I bet we're going to get several different answers. So I think it should be the king of dot damage. Does that seem reasonable? Rodriguez says, from what I understand from the lore, the Karpov fell out of use because shields negate it. I don't have a lot of ideas for the Karpov because of that. Yeah. Well, that's a really good point, Rodrigo. We're going to get to... So we'll have to get to melee weapons and how melee should relate to ranged in the Dune universe here in a minute. But you're not wrong. But it doesn't really inform us about what we want the Karpov to be. It tells us what we... It just doesn't really inform us. I just want the Flamethrower in general, Revlush says. Pershing Doughboy says, have you discussed your thoughts on melee combat? For me, I feel like it takes too long to defeat enemies in PvE. I'm getting lit up the whole time. Doughboy, we have not yet, but we're getting there, man. If you want, we can start with melee as number 7 here. And all we got to do is get down there. So, is there a particular? So we're talking about specific weapons because we're talking about weapon balance. What do you guys feel like is the best, or to you specifically, Doughboy? What do you feel like is the most? What should be the most generic, all around melee weapon for you, of the current ones that exist? Rodriguez says flamethrower does not stagger. Guys should be flailing while on fire, not able to shoot. Okay. So, to abstract that a bit before we get into the detail, I think it should be king of dot damage. I think it. So what we're saying is here. I mean, it should be scary. Is that? Possibly CC enemies. How about that? Is that a decent way? Rev says, I don't think I have enough experience yet to see the imbalances, so this is a good industry for me to watch. Awesome. Well, cool, man. Krabby says, shoots a jet of fuel, more range IMO, closer to real-life flamethrowers. Okay, so we're talking about range. We want I think we want mid-range is what we'd say. We want this to be a mid-range weapon. Have we missed that with any of the others? Also, like, that's a good thing. On the Bashar's command, these are often, like, mid-range weapons, I would say. They should be. Like, that's an important thing. It's more of a detail than a design parameter at this point, but we do want it to be mid-range. I would agree. I would say that. All right. So, Karpov, Flamethrower here. Let's add some spaces. These are a little hard to... I guess the spaces are pretty small. Cool. What other design parameters on the Flamethrower? Mid-range is good, not having to stand 2 feet away. You know what? That's actually another point of this. Should the Flamethrower be effective at close range? Should it be scary to the person using it at close range? Like, should there be blowback, potential for blowback? Do you guys see it as purely a mid-range weapon? Or do you think it's fine at being just as effective at close range? Pershing Doughboy says, long blade to me should be the most all-around weapon. Okay, perfect. Cool. So we're gonna say we're gonna put long blade here, and we'll start there. And we'll call this the what do we say with the default melee weapon. Cool. All right. I don't know. This is good. Besides that question of, like, do we want this to be like a short range weapon? I think we're in a good spot. The reason that we're trying, guys, just so you understand what we're trying to do here and why I keep rejecting specific ideas, or just like not putting them down. What we want to do is we want to decide how we want the weapon to feel. And then what we want to do is let our imagination run wild on how we can do that. That's the idea. Because I bet we can all agree on what we want these weapons to feel like. I bet we can do that. And then it's the extra layers that we'll probably potentially disagree on or have different thoughts on. All right. Cool. So let's go ahead and move on to the let me see. Drek says should be area denial and suppress the enemy. But I don't know if their code can handle proper fire mechanics. No, that's okay. You know what? That's a good point. We can add in that. So area denial, and then I don't know how to spell, guys. If you guys don't know that, you're going to find out today. Area denial and then suppression. Yeah. I mean, one thing that would be cool is, like, there's 2 P's in suppression. I'm learning that. I think with area denial, like lasting effects. This goes outside of our design parameters. I just want to point out, but I do think that it is it is very much a core part of how this weapon should probably function and should make it different. Tassie Bach, what's going on? Thanks for raiding with a party of 21. What's going on, guys? Thanks, everybody, for joining in. Guys, what we're doing today, well, first off, hello, I'm Night Horror. I love games and I love game design. So what we're doing today is we're trying to balance all the weapons in the game, and I'm not done streaming until we're done. So this could be a very, very long stream. I think we can get it done in a handful of hours. What have you guys been up to, though? And right now, what we're doing, so there was some other stuff we talked about, some general design parameters. But what we're doing right now is we're trying to say these are our design parameters for various weapons. And I know this is not the prettiest format. So what we're trying to come up with is not necessarily the specifics of what we want the weapons to be, but how each weapon should feel. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back through and we're going to say, okay, we want this weapon to feel like this. We want this weapon to feel like that. And then we're going to come back through and we're going to say, how do we do that? How do we do that? And one of our constraints on this is that we're trying to offer real suggestions that we can give to the devs so that they can do something about this. And what that means is there can't be any code changes. It's generally speaking needs to be like number changes to things they already have. So we can't. So for example, I just kind of broke this where I said, area denial on the flamethrower. Oops. I think that there should be like lasting effects on the ground. I think that would be really cool. Be able to put fire on an area. But this is actually outside of the design parameters that they're going to be able to do. But it is something that I actually think is so crucial to what a flamethrower is and should be that I do think that we're going to put it on here, but we're not expecting them to do anything with it. The rest of this stuff and our real goal is to be able to give the developers actionable items that they can actually do something about. This is very, inside baseball, to use a colloquial expression. So if this is not your thing, this is not what we do all the time, but this is something I do from time to time and I really enjoy doing. Control mouse wheel. I did not know, man. I don't know any hotkeys on Windows, man. Thank you. Kickback recoil on flamer, so it feels like you are shooting compressed fuel. Oh, do we not have any kickback on it? I felt like there was a little bit, maybe not. Okay, so we want it to feel like a heavy weapon, I think. We can talk about that. That is going to be something that's going to be a little bit outside of what we can do here. Krabby, that would be requiring some other changes. But we want it to feel like a heavy weapon. How about that? That seem okay? Yeah. Hard to turn. Yeah, hard to turn when you shoot to allow enemy to close distances on you. Yeah. Osbia, the dot needs to feel impactful. Yeah, cool. Osbia, we got King of Dots right here. Yeah. Cool. So we got that covered. And let's move on to the last gun. I think that's good for the flamethrower. Somebody said something about the glasser. The glasser should melt, not just, it should melt, not just roast them a little. Yeah, there you go. We'll come back and we'll talk about the individual weapons, I think, a little bit more. Okay. The las gun. So, I've got some thoughts. What do we expect from the las gun? What do we want from the las gun? We want the las gun to... What do we want from it? So, it should be maybe the highest, like the biggest and the baddest. How about that? Do you put two baddest? Is that a word? All right, the biggest and the baddest. We're gonna go to. I don't know how to spell. All right, biggest and baddest is one of the things I would say. It needs this lore explosion. Yeah, Bomb. I think the problem is, I mean, they explained the lore. Are you familiar with what they've done with the lore? Most DPS in the game, but hardest to get uptime for las gun. Yeah. Well, it appears some people don't know. So what they have done, guys, and they actually went to the estate of the Herbert estate, and they got permission to say to like kind of add to the lore or change the lore, maybe not change, but and what they've said is that on Dune, because of what happened with Neo-Carthage, or is it Neo-Carthag, something like that. What happened there with the explosion, which was interaction. For those who don't know, in Dune lore, if you shoot a laser at a Holtzman shield, you get you get a random reaction that could be anything from like just a normal kind of explosion, like dynamite or plastic explosion, up to something that will completely like a nuclear explosion, or even larger, like a large yield nuclear explosion. So it could be anywhere in between. And because of that, and because of the common use of Holtzman shields, you don't always want to, you don't necessarily want to accidentally set off a nuclear explosion, right? You want that to be targeted if you do it. So, because of what happened with Neo-Carthag, they outlawed, the lore that they added is that like they outlawed them on Dune. And so the only las guns on Dune are ones with a safety feature that will automatically turn off magically whenever it encounters a Holtzman shield. Doesn't actually make sense if you think about it too much, but a lot of this stuff doesn't. So just go with it. That's the lore though that they've added. Yeah, no problem. Oh yeah, no problem, Scorpion. Cool. I'm glad that was helpful for people. Yeah, and then most DPS in the game, but hardest to get uptime for the last gun. What do you mean by uptime, Osvia? Can you explain a little bit more? Like, does it in the lore in the books or whatever? Does it take a long time to spool up or something, or is that just kind of like what you feel like it should be? Can you just say a little bit more about that? Scott says last gun should be relegated to a structure weapon, otherwise it just steps on the toes of the other heavy weapons. I agree with you, Scott. We're just not quite there yet, man. Yeah, I'm with you. How you feel? Okay, cool. I'm with you on that. All right. So biggest and baddest, we'll put DPS here just so we know what we mean. All right. So that's what it should be. But not effective versus, we'll say most. Not effective versus most, infantry. I don't know. So we'll call them. How about that? Does that sound reasonable? Reasonable way of putting that. Okay. What else do we have here? I'm just going to give myself some room. Not effective versus most infantry. Biggest and baddest DPS. And then, let's say, very effective versus inanimate. How about that? So, raiding bases, destroying vehicles, all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Because, obviously they can't have shields up, but that's the idea. Should be able to put shields on vehicles. I don't disagree. We might be heading there too. Who knows? All right. So anything else here? I mean, it needs to be biggest and baddest DPS, not effective versus most infantry. You know what? I think there should be power management here. I think power management. And maybe bursty. How do you feel about being bursty? Nani says, Nani, it's Ian. I feel like the biggest complaint with the las gun is the balance it has in PvP, vehicle combat. Going against a G5 las gun is gnarly in PvP and using vehicles. Yeah. I'd say maybe a build up, like it starts slow. Oh, okay. So we want like a slow ramp up time. How do we describe that? Because we also have the same thing with some of the other guns, but we'll just say slow ramp up. I don't know. Yeah. Let's say let's see. We'll call this a strong power management mechanic, because I think one of the other things is like not being able to use this consistently should be a thing, perhaps. Perhaps. It also makes sense. Like you can imagine a laser without a big enough heat sink that is a little bit more bursty. I don't know that that needs to be part of the constraints behind it. Yeah, we can put that in here too, Scorpio. So similar to, I call them heavy machine guns. I don't know. Maybe a heavy machine gun is more of a vehicle mounted weapon, but that thing's pretty friggin' big. And oftentimes, like, there are weapons in like various action movies that are typically not used by hand, where you have some jack dude using them by hand. So I would still say it's a bit of a heavy machine gun situation, personally. Yeah, Krabby says you shouldn't be able to use a heavy weapon while surfing a thopter. Well, they're fixing that, Krabby, or they're supposed to be. It's on their. They're trying to fix it, at least. Yeah, they're trying to fix the surfing. Although they are fixing it in what some would argue is a very lame way by not allowing you to surf on thopters, which I actually thought was quite fun. But yeah, it is problematic. Bombholm says they should get rid of thopter surfing, but they should allow you to fire by hanging out the passenger seat. Okay, praise be. Yeah. Well, that's kind of a vehicle thing, Bombholm. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not really disagreeing. I'm just saying I think it's a little bit outside of the scope of today. I think that's pretty good for the last gun. Let's move on and talk about long blades here. Also, let's take a moment. And actually, this isn't the very best way to do this. Let's go look at like a weapons fabricator. Maybe that'll be a better way. So we've got. Oh, okay. We haven't talked about any of these lighter weapons yet. We haven't talked about shotguns. We haven't talked about the triple shot. Yeah, so these are and we've talked about most of I think we've talked about everything with the ancient way. Okay. So we still got quite a few to get through. And then we've got the long blades and everything. All right. So let's talk about long blades here. Let's talk about it. So long blades. What are our thoughts on long blades? So we already have it as kind of the default melee weapon. That's good. It should be from lore, right? Like these should be, let's say as strong. Well, how about this? At least as strong as ranged weapons. Does that sound good? At least as strong. Probably stronger, but at least as strong. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Theory Carver, appreciate it. Krabby, yeah, appreciate it. So we're talking about details, guys. We want to take a step back. We're deciding on the design parameters, not exactly the details here. I know this is frustrating everybody. Once we're done with this, the details will come pretty quick. AoE parry feels good. Okay. So do we want to say then, so right now, what I would say is that this is the best pairing weapon with regards to groups. Yeah. The absolutely true. These are all true. So it is the no, a 4,000 DPS sword would be too strong. I think they are in a good place right now. Well, Scott, you might be specifically referring just to PvE, but even then, they generally do less damage than most other options. PvE melee is objectively worse than ranged right now, man. Which goes against the core of the Dune universe, does it not? And, I don't know, 4,000 DPS. Actually, no, that's about right. I mean, if it's fully modded and everything. Strong AoE parry mechanic, Theory Carver says. Okay. So we want to say this is like we're going to call this a weapon of war. And what I mean by that, it's not how you spell war. War? Well, why am I putting an E in there? Weapon of war. And I would just say like specifically this means group mechanics. I don't know why I'm not capitalizing this. Group mechanics. How about that? Can we all agree on this? This is like the AoE parry, but like we want this to be the weapon you use in groups. There's a lot going on. This is again a weapon of war. I think that makes sense. Do you guys understand what I mean by a weapon of war? Does that make sense to everybody? This is a real thing. What I mean by weapon of war is like, when people IRL, and this is in the U.S., so those outside the U.S. maybe don't have a touch point for this, but you might carry a small handgun for like personal protection. You carry an assault rifle when you're going to war. You don't carry it. Like if you carry a handgun, it's a secondary weapon. It's not like your primary weapon. Yeah. You wrote where because everything in this game wears like crazy. Yeah. Yes. Yes, range is too much in PvP. Yeah. I would still say that the melee weapons should be stronger. I don't know. The boss fights are kind of weird now. We could that's more of a level design and a boss design sort of thing. Okay, so at least as strong as range weapons, right? That just goes along with the Dune lore. There's no really getting around that. It should be a weapon of war, I would argue. So group mechanics, and it should be the default weapon, default melee weapon, I guess. I think it should be fast. I would argue that maybe some of the lighter blades, Pershing. Would you agree with me that maybe some of the lighter blades should be more of a core feature of them? All right, so let's, I don't know. This is okay. Let's move on to short blades. Actually, what are we at here? Short blades. All right. What do we expect out of short blades? What's up, Vish? Just jumping to stream and heard the sword as a primary weapon. Thing is, historically, swords were more of a sidearm and status symbol, like a pistol. Spears, maces, hammers, and axes were historically main weapons of war. That said, this isn't really in reality. It's a game. Just had to be pedantic for a moment there. Yeah, well, part of that, Vesh. We're talking about the Dune universe, though. Can you relate that to the Dune universe in a way that is important? And also, I would say, in regards to that, some of the reasons some of those other weapons were more popular, it's because they were more readily available because of cost. But in just like now, it's a lot easier to get a lot of things that are of decent quality. It's a lot easier to make a small spearhead than it is to make a giant weapon, mostly out of metal, or all out of metal. Same thing. It's easier to make a mace. You put something heavy on the end of a stick, and you got a mace. And that's not really. We don't really have those same design constraints anymore. And I would assume in the Dune universe they don't either. Short blades are fast. Yeah, I would agree with that. Should be like let's go with fast / how about subtle? Subtle weapon. How about that? Does that seem reasonable? I think that fits. And then maybe we could do this so Rodrigo doesn't go crazy. Let's just do like, yeah, and then we can make these a little bit larger, maybe a heading. No, let's go with subheading. I'm learning how to use sorry guys, I'm learning how to use Windows and specifically Notepad. Can I not highlight multiple things? Will it not let me do that? Maybe not. At least I don't know what the hotkey is. Gonna blow this up a little bit. And then say control scroll wheel. That's amazing. There we go. All right. Rock on stick, primitive mace. Yeah, exactly. Hellbert slow blade attack. Yeah, spears and Hellberts in Dune would be cool. Yeah, the Chris knife is a short blade. I don't know about what the concept is for Dune in terms of which was the main weapon. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know either, honestly. Bombhole says poison dot on slow short blade should be really strong. Okay. So subtle, maybe a poison weapon. We can go with that. I can get behind that. Let me see. Theory Carver says I'd actually like to see a bleed on short blades. If I'm stabbing and slashing fast at someone, I would think that I'd be doing more superficial damage, which could mean death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah. By the way, Chad, I wasn't going crazy doing my dailies. That drives me crazy. Having to do dailies. Okay, so we don't really have a lot. We haven't added a lot to. You know what I would say here with the sword, because this is true IRL, is it should be strong parry weapon. How about that? And then I would say short blades. These should be dueling weapons more. How about that? Dueling weapons, and then, we said stats effects in general: bleed, poison, burn. Yeah. Maybe we could say like these are more like status effect delivery weapons. How about that? That's pretty abstracted. I think that's pretty good. Kind of covers what you're saying, Pershing, in a little bit more abstract manner. It's Theory Carver says, its speed is its biggest benefit of a knife because its parry is fast, its slow blade is fast. Yeah, but that's how it currently is, Theory Carver. That doesn't actually really align with like what it probably should be for parrying specifically, because it is much easier to parry with a giant weapon than it is to parry with a small weapon. Dune generally uses also like the reason that they don't use unbalanced weapons, so that means your mace, your halberd, etc., is because of you need to do the slow blade thing, and a slow blade is it's something that is benefited. Like balanced weapons make sense. Unbalanced weapons don't make sense. The whole benefit of an unbalanced weapon is you have a lever arm that you can get more impact on something, but that just means that it'll impact a Holtzman shield and won't do anything. So that's why they're all balanced weapons in the Dune universe. So dueling weapon. So we're saying it should be. We already had fast actually in here. I don't necessarily think it should be better at. I'm fine with it. I'm actually happy with it. I'm just trying to think of anything else that we can abstract. So all we have for short blades right now is that it's fast, it's subtle, it delivers status effects, and it's a dueling weapon. Versus like, a sword, which is a weapon of war. Is there anything we're missing here? I'm going to go look. What are the other kinds? Yeah, I guess we do have the dual wielding versus like, are any of these weapons really two-handed? They're really not, most of them. Which also doesn't really make sense. I guess it leaves your other hand open to do other things. Much sure at dealing with one enemy, while long blades are better at dealing with multiple. Cool. All right, we got that in there. I would also say that it's like a Sabo weapon. I'd love to see more functionality with things like backstabbing, things knives and daggers have historically done. Interesting. So, I like that theory, Carver. I like where you're going with that. So I would say that, like, I would say the main thing here is, so what you're saying with that is, just thinking here, little gerbil is turning. Yeah, so backstab mechanics and things of that nature, so more skill based. How about that? Attacks. And then we can put how about that? Seems pretty good. There is no Spork. What's going on? I like the that's an amazing name there, Spork. Bro, I had to take a break from this game because of work. Came back, no base. I can't bring myself to start again. Oh, dude. Yeah, that sucks. That does suck, man. You've seen the welcome back packages, I guess, right? But if you had like a full on base, like it's gonna be pretty tough. Yeah, that's rough, man. I feel you on that. Rodriguez says, from a guy that did fencing, freehand means better body control. Okay. All right. I can get behind that. Uh, Backstab mechanic, yeah. Yeah, controlling the movement of the enemy, being able to stun more frequently into a stun lock, enabling the backstabber or sneak attack. Yes, I'm borrowing from WoW terms here. Why would a short blade, what thematically leads it, like, makes you think short blade and being able to, like, stun? There's this work says the hardest part of this game, once you out, you ain't coming back if you had put in a lot of work. Yeah. Well, they did change that, Spork. I don't know if you're familiar with all the changes they made. Now you can pack up your base and, like, and keep all your resources and log out eternally. But yeah, it probably should have been there at launch, and it wasn't. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's something called a base backup tool now. And there's a bunch of other stuff, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude. Rodriguez says, on the free hand means more control. It can translate into losing less poise on damage, but also future CQC maneuvers. Okay. Gal, what's going on, man? Theory Carver says, I would combine the short blade with the status effect applications. Yeah, okay. I think we have it here though. I think we have it here. I would maybe we could add to this is like, I mean, a sword should just do more damage than a I don't even know if this works well as a base weapon. Maybe we don't want to change this to like the default melee weapon. I think like strongest damage. Yeah. And then one of these the short blades could actually be base melee weapon. Yeah. I'm just very used to games in games seeing daggers users be your stunners. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know that there's any like in lore reason or any IRL reason that like leads to that. Is my only theory. That's my only issue with it. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just not necessarily feeling it. I'm trying to draw a line between those two things, and I don't know how to draw one. Rodriguez says sword should be for more poise damage and better reach. Ah, okay. So we would say that this is maybe a better stagger weapon. Maybe more skill-based attacks, leading to higher damage. How about that? Yeah. I'm just trying to see your point of view. All right. So I think that's good. I think we can move on. Let's move on. So we got short blades. Oh, you know what? Let's do missile launcher. I know it's kind of like disjoint from where everything else was. Oh yeah, we should add a line here, huh? What other weapons do we want to talk about? We can just go through, do a handful of these. I don't know. I assume there's some way of doing this easier. Rodrigo will probably tell me about it after I've been doing this for a minute. What else do we want to talk about? So we got missile launcher. You know, it was actually easier to just go over here and kind of look through. We have a bunch of different kinds of short blades, a bunch of different kinds of long blades. Oh yeah, we have we have a bunch of weapons here. Shotguns, sniper rifles. We can do that. How about that? Shotguns. And then sniper rifles. What else? What else do we have that we want to talk about? Shotguns are here. Oh, drill shots. We need drill shots. Oh, we got the pie rocket too now, which is cool but useless. But yeah, let's put that on here. So, pie rocket, and then we've also sniper rifles. That's what it was. Sniper rifles are in there. Oh no, it already did sniper rifles. Hold on. What else was it? Oh, drill shots. That's what it was. Drill shots. Yeah. Drill shots. And then we got at least a couple more. So what do we want to call these? We call these LMGs, maybe light machine guns, and then pistols. We're gonna call it light machine guns, unless you guys have a better idea. Light machine guns, and then we'll go with like light pistols. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but we're gonna go with light pistol. Oh my god, light pistols and then heavy pistols. I swear my keyboard's just not working well. It's probably just that I can't type very well. Submachine guns? Yeah, that's better. Yeah. That works. Yeah. All right. Everybody's like, yeah, submachine guns. What are you talking about? All right, cool. You're doing great on the. Oh no, I appreciate. No, I don't mind the help too, the feedback. I don't ever use Notepad, man. So you're good. I think the biggest delta is maybe regular pistols and disruptor pistols. Yeah. We could do that. We could do that too. Yeah, that's a good point. I think they'll be their own thing. So. Oh my god. Here we go. And I think that's fine. Is there anything else we're missing? So the Shishakli's Bite and the Way Misra will be their own thing. Yeah, I think we're good. I think that's everything. I think we're good there. All right. How long have we been going, guys? We've been going for an hour, almost 2 hours here. Let me take a quick five, and not even a quick five. Let me take a quick two or whatever, and then let me buy real quick, and then we'll be right back, and we'll finish off the rest of these. I'm gonna kick to a commercial here on YouTube, and enjoy the bunnies while you wait. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. I've got some tea brewing here. We'll have to jump up and grab it in a second. All right, let's keep going though. So we got missile launcher here. Missile launcher. So this is going to be pretty straightforward, I think, on some of these, which will be nice. So missile launchers are, I mean, I would say first and foremost. Is that the right size? They're. I mean, I would argue that they should be anti-vehicle vehicle weapons. Anybody have any issues with that? They lock on. I don't think that missile launcher should be very effective against individuals. Yeah, I think that's one of the current problems. Like, I mean, we have mods already in the game that do that. I know, but I don't like what part of that makes sense. Does that make sense to anybody? Like shooting like a, I guess with the weapon mods, if you want to add the expander, right, to like a fragmentation type weapon, that's fine with me. What's up, Talith? I don't like them locking onto people. Okay. I think the biggest. Oh no, we already went through that. Yeah. Um, make them even more effective. Oh my gosh. Just be the only weapon that you. Talith is memeing, guys. Just so we're on the same page. Hey Nani, I am off to raid time. We missed it by one death. Oh no, and 2 seconds left in the fight last week. Fingers crossed. All right. Well, good luck, Nani. What are you guys doing, Nani? Nani's off to a raid. It sounds like they're doing some sort of trifecta. I don't recall what they're doing right now, though. Timnanimus, Timnamius, rather, says, and we should go back to being able to dumbfire them also. Okay. Yeah, Griffin Art. Okay, cool. Doing Cloud Rest. All right, so missile launcher, anti-vehicle weapon. We're gonna put like from Talith, even stronger. All right, that's a joke, but I just like it, so we're gonna put it here. I asked her not to, but my wife with a broken ankle is hopping around finishing off my tea that I was going to have to get up for. Thank you, lovely wife. Thank you, Mrs. Harrow. Theory Carver says, I think they can be effective with zoning people as well. Yeah, the problem with the lock-on, what was the problem with that? You could just spam them for AoE stagger is what it was? I think that was the deal, right? So it kind of became annoying getting like rocket spammed. How would you stop that? I mean, IRL, the reason you don't set off large explosions in close quarters is because you'll hurt yourself. So, I mean, maybe that's part of it. I don't know. This is a tricky one. Yeah, ineffective at short range. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with that. I'm with you on that. Ineffective. With Theory Carver. Yeah. Don't know how to spell ineffective. I would say damages user. Two Fs. All right. I think I missed something. Oh yeah, like not having to lock. I'm going to put a question mark by doesn't require lock on because yeah, I think that would be another way of solving. Like lock on is kind of weird to require it. Eve does it interestingly in that missiles have an explosive radius and speed, which means firing them at small targets significantly reduces their damage output. Okay, I'm trying to think of how we would abstract that, though, Tim. The old WoW Hunter also wouldn't let you shoot it point blank. You had to range, yeah. I would even say, this damages user is a thing. It could just like, we'll put a question mark by this, because it also could just be a safety feature. Yeah, don't fire this in a place that's going to kill you. I don't know. That seems like a reasonable safety feature to have on these things. Abstraction, i.e. your point about making them primal anti-vehicle rather than anti-personnel. Yeah, what I mean just by abstraction a little bit is what we're trying to do is like right now, Temp, is what we're trying to do right now is like get some general design parameters, not necessarily the details. So like, and we're blurring the lines, unarguably. We're absolutely blurring the lines. but it kind of seems like what you're talking about is a specific. What you were talking about with Eve is a specific interaction in the game, and I was just trying to abstract that a bit to the. I'd like to save that kind of stuff for the next stage, where once we have kind of design parameters and all these things, we're going to go back through, and then then the details come. Yeah, yeah. Looking for the niche weapon, for example. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, it might be a little bit more broad than that, but that is the basic idea. Yeah. Rodrigo says, wait, Terry Carver says, don't let the maid shoot fireball in the crowded room. Yeah, exactly. Or just give them the consequences. All right, I think my tea is ready, and my wife is trying to hop over here with it. I'm not going to let her. Thank you, lovely wife. I'll be right back.
Good hopper, and I was gonna get over there, so I didn't have. I was only gonna take like 2 hops.
I saw that. Thank you. Doing a great job. All right. Yeah. Yeah, and also that was like stuff we went over, just FYI, at like the beginning of the stream. But yeah. Okay, so I think we're okay. Wait. Rodrigo said something here. If you fire without lock, it just travels until it collides or gets to max range, just like Assault Seeker. Yeah. I still think that was the problem because people were. I think there's a range thing. I think there should be a range, and this could be a technical limitation, so this could be outside of the parameters of what we want to suggest. But I also think it's core enough to the functionality that it warrants still being in here, kind of like with the Flamethrower, where we had some notes on the Flamethrower that were like, I thought at least, this is core enough to how this weapon should function that we should still put it in here, even though it's not something that could be immediately addressed. Okay. I think this is good. Safety feature. We'll put it there. Maybe we'll just remove the question marks and we'll just say or. Oops. Dropped a knee. Okay, I think that's good. Anybody have anything else on this? What's up, Two Squirrels? Can they repair the controller support? It needs a little work on a lot of different things. Can you put that on the list? Two Squirrels, that is outside of the scope of what we're talking about today, but if you can elaborate, because I don't play on controller, so I can understand, I can do my best to pass it on. Rodriguez says, I'm about to become the deranged killer in the arena. Woo. All right, cool, man. Yeah, that part got a little cheesy for me. I didn't love it. It was like fine, but yeah, okay. So I think that's good. Shotguns. Oh my god, shotguns. Shotguns. What do we want to say about shotguns? Make them stronger, Talith is probably going to say. Even if he's not saying it, he's thinking it. Make shotguns even stronger. No, they should be, short range weapons. What else would we say about shotguns? I would say very rapid damage fall off. Tala says, let us put 3 scattergun rampage augments on 1 shotgun. There you go. So it's the only weapon you have to use. Casual here says, I hate that there's no choice in the game. Picking your name for the arena was one that really frustrated me. Yeah, it was like give me an option, but it doesn't actually matter. I don't know if it was supposed to be kind of a joke, but it is a feels bad moment with that one. Rodriguez says, to be fair, shotguns are exactly what you would use for internal area room clearing IRL. They are stronger where they should. Yeah. Stopping power. Okay. We're gonna call that stagger because I think that's a lot of what it is. Thank you very much for the phenomenal. Never mind. Oh, thanks so much. You were phenomenal. Never mind. I'll try to make a ticket out. Oh, no worries, man. I mean, I'm always glad to help. I appreciate the kind words. It would help me to know. I would love to know, just so you know, Squirrel. So, I mean, if it's not too much trouble, like drop it in chat. Because I don't play on controller, but it's still helpful for me with what I do to kind of understand the overall problems with the game and with things. So please, let me know. And this comes up with console players as well on other games. Obviously not for Dune right now, but there'll be problems in other games that I play where it's like, hey, here's a problem that console players are having, and I don't play on console. So it's super helpful though for me to know like what's going on. Cashel says, I know they don't fit in with this discussion, but he reminded me. Yeah. Oh no. I mean, yeah. You're good. You're good. Yeah. That forced me into a joke that didn't land. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I mean, it landed for me, man. It's just yeah. It's a meme at this point. The shotgun. Loose stagger. Loose stagger used outside 50 meters. Yeah. Yeah. That. Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's a good. Gal, that's a great point. Damage and stagger will put it fall off. Yeah, that's great. So he crash landed. Uh, I'm just trying to think here, and it's just trying to keep up with chat and stuff too. But I'm caught up. Let me just try to think of like. So shotguns are typically, they don't have to be, but relatively short range weapons. There's a couple different kinds. If we're talking about scatter guns, then we're talking about again weapons that are very dangerous. But I would say, I mean, we should put this. It's already in the game, but there's probably more things like this that we've kind of missed. But it is an imprecise weapon. We're going to talk about drill shots in a second because we're gonna say shotguns, but these are actually like scatter guns, meaning that they kind of treat them like an old school like blunderbuss or whatever, right? Where like you're shooting buckshot or something similar. You're not shooting slugs, really. The slugs typically are the drill shots. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe let's say I would say very high stagger compared to a lot of weapons. And I don't know if do we need anything else? I don't know if we need anything else. Talus says shotgun stagger should be core to it, but stagger also gives more damage because of the sabotage specialization, etc. So double dips damage and has a CC effect. I gotta remind myself about what that is, Talith. With the sabotage, I want to remind myself of like the verbiage and stuff. Oh, damage to staggered targets. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of weird. So any weapon that staggers is automatically going to do more damage. Does that really make sense? I don't know if that really makes sense. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's in here, so what are you gonna do? But I'm a little bit okay. All right. Yeah, Thalasis. I don't know if it should be designed like that. Yeah. I think I'm with you on that. That's interesting. Okay. Well, It is what it is for right now. I think I'm happy with this for right now. We can always add stuff later too. So let's move this up. Let me see. Theory Carver says, heck, I would say increase the recoil on the shotties to somehow compensate for their high damage and core cone-like damage. That's a great point. High recoil. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. And perhaps this should be added to other weapons as well, right? There might be some others that we missed that we need to add that to. All right, Two Squirrels, in reference to my comment, he said he was having problems on controller. Says, well, when you're in a boss fight, I think that they need to. Oh, okay, no, we're talking about this. They need to turn it down a little bit, trying to climb up to level 15 or 18. But that's just my opinion, and hovering while I'm trying to shoot at boss. Yeah, no, that's fair. You know what? That's a good point too. If you're shooting these weapons while like floating, the high recoil weapons should probably have some sort of effect, negative effect. Yeah, let's add that. Right, because they don't do anything. I don't know if that's how you spell suspensoring. I mean, I'm thinking we made up a word, but close enough. uh, Rodriguez says, depends on what the stagger is. Does slow blade count as stagger? Well, yeah. I mean, I think we're talking about we're talking about recoil, not stagger, right? Two curls. I can't hover and shoot the boss at the same time with the controller. Maybe my settings are all messed up, but I just keep dying because everybody else that I watch hovers and can shoot the boss. And when I switch between weapons, sometimes it just doesn't switch at all, or it grabs a different weapon after. So then I also die. Okay, yeah, that will switch weapon. No, no, you're good, man. You're fine. You're fine, dude. It's good for the algorithm, if nothing else. No, you're fine. You're not blowing up my chat. You're fine. That's an interesting point, man. I should actually probably try that. I mean, hopefully, the whole point of Dune is that they did design the game to be used like with they designed it with console in mind. That's why the buttons work the way they do. That's why there's only 3 buttons. So it should all work better. I have heard it's pretty rough on controller before, though. You're not the first person to say that. As far as like flying and shooting. Rodriguez says, I was talking about the passive of extra damage to stagger enemies. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Depends on what the stagger is. The slow blade count as stagger. Ah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah. I think so. I think so, Rodrigo. Okay. Sniper rifles. What do we want? It's long range. Long range. Let me see. Big damage, low rate of fire. What else for sniper rifles? And I think there could be like an energy sniper rifle that like breaks shield that could be cool. What else do we want for sniper rifles? I mean, obviously very accurate. I don't know. Nothing else is really coming to mind. Let's also. So we're gonna have to talk about the Regis triple shot kind of by itself. Shields are the problem for them at long range. I think that's a good point. Yeah, yeah. We can just add that. Pyrocket. We're just gonna move on to the Pyrocket. We'll circle back when we get to individual weapons, and we'll talk more about the triple shot, which is kind of weird because it falls under a sniper rifle, but it's like not at all a sniper rifle. So it's like, what is going on here? It's pretty weird, honestly. I think one of the developers fell in love with that weapon, is what happened. That's my best guess, at least. Theory Carver says the Regis triple shot always gets me on the sniper rifles because it doesn't scope like the Dune Watcher. Yeah. Yeah, anything without a scope isn't a sniper rifle for me. Yeah. It's really more of a shotgun, is it not? It's more of a slug shotgun, is what it is. It shoots three slugs pretty inaccurately. Kind of like a no scope hunting rifle. Yeah. Gal, posted a video. Gal posted a video earlier today that was of them, Galadorn here, in the Dune channel in the Discord. I think it was earlier today. Yeah, of pointing out that the plasma cannon isn't as bad, and kind of talked about that. So we'll get to that and be able to talk about it today. Gal, by the way. Tim says, I really like the Pyrocket, but being an AoE weapon, I think, is what there are not that many opportunities to use it as such, and I get yelled at for friendly fire, setting my teammates on fire when I use it. It doesn't do friendly fire. This has come up like twice now. Last I checked, that it won't do. You can shoot right at them. It makes it hard to see, but it won't actually set people on fire. It's what a burst Karpov should be, like the old World War II combat rifles. Gal says, yeah. You mean, yeah? I know you mean the triple shot, man. I know you mean the triple shot. Yeah. It 100% does. It sets my teammates on fire. If they're not in a group with you, maybe. Do you mean in PvP, maybe? Because that does make sense. Yeah, let's do that, Krabby. Because I have had people shoot at me with that, so I'm really confused. Yeah, come on over, man. Or I guess let's go to a testing. I don't know where we would go. Roasted crab coming in. In testing stations. Is that where you experienced this, Temp? Hey, thanks, Squirrels. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the super chat. $5 super chat, man. Watching so I have to be proven wrong so I can clap back at my guildies. Yeah. Yes, in testing stations. All right. Yeah, because we have someone who used to use this, unless they changed it. I feel like they got set on fire by something else, and then they blamed you. Off-topic question: is there a reason to do a testing station at a higher level than 1 when I'm leveling my stuff up? Do you mean the leveling? What do you mean by leveling your stuff up? Do you mean like leveling your quests up, or like doing your dailies? I'm going to go to fire here, Krabby. That's not fire. That's poison. Yeah. No, just do them at level 1. The only reason is if you want to also farm them for gear. That would be the only reason. Casual. Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's, while we're waiting on that. Sorry, get my water bottle in the way. Let's pull this back up. Okay, Pyrocket, AoE, splash weapon. What else does it do? Dot damage. It does direct damage as well. I think it's bursty. We'll say burst damage is important. Guess I could keep to the same. What else about the Pyrocket? What else do we think about with a Pyrocket? All right, let's see if we can light them on fire. We'll go in. I don't know. It shouldn't matter where we're at, but all right, Krabby. Actually, do you want to go right underneath there where there's already somebody? Okay, for punishments for his crimes, we're sentencing this crab to death by cooking.
Oh.
It's not doing anything, is it, Krabby?
So, oops, sorry. I hit me one more time. I thought I got a debuff there or something. I'm getting a debuff.
What's the debuff say?
Plate weakness.
Actually, hold on. Area control, that's a good point. Yeah. Hit me with your best shot. Fire away. I'm not getting anything, man.
Like a debuff that said exploit weakness.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if that's a debuff.
I mean, it's a passive. It's a slottable thing I have, but it shouldn't be applying to you. But yeah, you know what? It does pop up. It pops up with other weapons.
Okay, I'm getting it.
Yeah, yeah, that's.
Shoot you with that too.
Yeah, that's funny. That shouldn't be that shouldn't be on you in PvE. Huh. All right. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Such a friendly and helpful crab.
Off the hot bar.
Hey, man. Thanks for the 5 New Zealand bucks. Thanks, man. Yeah, man, it doesn't, you can't harm your allies with anything. The biggest complaint that people can have, which is like fairly valid, is when you're using this against somebody, if I'm in melee and then somebody's like just absolutely like letting loose with that thing, you can't see anything. That's the biggest like issue with it. No stagger, man. It doesn't stagger or anything. Oh, I don't think so, at least. You know, it could be that it just isn't overcoming my stagger, because rockets will. No, if you're in a group, I don't even think will rockets stagger? They will stagger, won't they? Uh-oh. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was having any effect though, with 3 shots. All right, let's so burst damage, area control. I like that. Would like to see, maybe not. Maybe like a lasting AoE. We'll put a question mark on that one. I think your model gave steps back. Okay, so it does some stagger. Okay. All right, so I guess you can stagger your allies, but it staggers enemies too. But yeah, you don't want to be getting staggered. If they are having issues with that and it can stagger, because stagger would be great for enemies, first off, picking, I think, manipulate instability, I would have to check it, but I think it should work to increase your stagger to enemies, which I guess might affect your allies too. But then they just need Bindu stability is what they would run or run. I don't know if you could up one and decrease the other on your allies so that you could do enough poise damage to enemies to CC them. It's an incredibly fun weapon. And I love the idea. I like how it's different. Yeah, I mean, it's very bursty, very low rate of fire. So we're gonna say, did we do burst damage? And we'll say and low rate of fire. Cool. All right, drill shots. Drill shots. What's going on with drill shots here? What do we want for drill shots? So, I don't know. I don't know what the lore on the drill shot is. In theory, there's something that's like letting it burrow through, so then it hits you. So it does make sense that it does less damage than just getting shot with a dart. Yeah, I mean, in like IRL, if you were doing that, you would probably put some explosives on it, right? Like a little bit of like a low yield explosive. If you were making that, because you're already putting like something that's like propelling it, you might as well throw a little bit of explosive so when it gets through, it actually does decent damage. But I don't think that probably falls, like the Dune lore probably doesn't have that. Oh yeah, concussive and fire. Yeah, we can put that too. Yeah. Drill shot should drain stam. Well, it does by forcing people to dodge, Scott. So it kind of does that. So I would say we could say that force dodges. But like, what are like what is our hope and our desire for the drill shot? I mean, it bypasses shields, obviously. That's like the main thing. It doesn't do damage to the shield. It should bypass it. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what else. I'm not feeling incredibly inspired on the drill shot. Yeah, ambition spamming will definitely drain your stam. Yeah, and if you get the ambition and you add the larger clips, you can get like 10 shots before you have to reload, which is pretty hooked up. I would say, honestly, I think without the augments, like there's just not enough shots for drill shots to be worth it. So I should say like mid range on ammo. Yeah. I think dots on it would be fine. I don't have an issue with that. You could have the drill shot penetrate faster than the blades. Oh, interesting. I think the tuning on that is fine. I don't know. I think this might be enough. What we have might be enough. Okay. Submachine guns. Let's talk about these. Okay. So these are used in Dune as shield breaking weapons. That's what they're used for. So shield breaking weapons. Let's say short range. Very short range, and then I would say very high rate of fire. That seems reasonable. I think that seems reasonable to me. And then we're moving to pistols next, and then disruptor pistols, guys. For anybody who wants to thinking about what's coming up. Yeah, high rate of fire, Krabby says, all caps, high rate of fire. Rodriguez says you could just have the drill shot penetrate fast. Oh, sorry, we already read that. Yeah. High rate of fire, shield breaking weapons. I have a couple of cute little rabbits who would like a treat. KMOS. Shield breaking weapons, very short range, very high rate of fire. I mean, that's what they're used for. You know what? They're dart using weapons, so like decent DPS versus, no, I would say maybe versus energy weapons. Energy shield breaking weapons, to be specific. How about that? Does that seem reasonable? I think that's reasonable. Okay. Light pistols. Let's talk about light pistols. What do we want here? Light pistols, we are looking for... So this is a little bit weird because... Ready? All right, I'll be right back. I just got to help the wife for 2 seconds.
I thought about eating in here, but I thought.
All right, I am back. Sorry about that. Tim asks, what are light pistols used for at the moment? Does anybody use them? And yeah, the answer is no. They're not used for anything, really. There was a time there when there was a bug and you could use them to break shields, but it was a bug. So, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. So, yeah, what are light pistols used for? I mean, so they could and maybe should be precision weapons. I would say it's not what they're used for, but precision weapons. Yeah, not weapons of war. Kind of to my earlier point. Yeah, so they could be precision weapons. I would say short to medium range. They should be good in short range. Some of this stuff we're going to find that the Dune isn't really built around some of these ideas. Short to medium range, precision weapons. I think that would be in this case. It's going to be headshots. What else? What else do we have on these? And this is not how they're used currently, but we're talking about like what makes sense. So low recoil. That kind of goes with precision weapons, but we're just adding some detail. Kimas. What else? The issue with balance in this game, even a poor guy has a Holtzman shield. I don't think that's an issue, Rodrigo, personally. Pistols need pistol whip. Yeah, larger weapons need weapons like a where you swing your weapon around or whatever. Agree, it's weird that pistols are long range precision weapons and rifles tend to be medium range high spread. Should kind of be the other way around, right? Yeah, exactly. I think he's talking about like what the NPC's doing, Rodrigo, like us having those versions. I mean, I don't know. I think that's fine. Heavy pistols, we can talk about these at the same time. We can still go back to the light pistols. But what do we expect from heavy pistols here? I would say, high. I would say high damage. They're high damage weapons. I would say, actually, yeah. Still short to medium range. High recoil. Stagger. There should be stagger on these. I don't know if I have anything else really to add to that. If you guys got anything, throw it out. Disruptor pistols, and then we're about to. After this, I think we're finally on to the meat of what we want to get to. But we've defined our build parameters here, so it's kind of a necessary step. So disruptor pistols are shield breaking, short range. We'll say short to medium range. Let's go with high damage, high damage, low rate of fire. That makes sense. It's kind of how they are now. And what else do we have? Crit should maybe heavy pistols be short range drill shots. I think that's an interesting idea, like for having these type of weapons, Gal. Like I like it's a fun idea. I don't think it necessarily needs to be like on here. One of the things about pistols versus shotguns is there's a lot of situations where, we can argue about this. People do argue about it, but a shot, like a lot of people will say, actually, I think someone said it earlier, that like a shotgun being in a close quarter situation, that like a shotgun is like the ideal weapon. And I think people would disagree with that. I think I might be one of those people too, that I don't necessarily see a shotgun. They're harder to use. You're right. If you go into a situation where you need to have the weapon close to you, you want a handgun, right? Like you want something small. Yeah, it's a long gun. It's not necessarily, someone can grab it a lot easier than they can grab a pistol, stuff like that. So I don't think it's necessarily, and if you like, if you want to pull it up or whatever, right, to get through places, you have to pull it up. And then if you're in tight quarters, versus being able to hold it to you and fire. And I think that's one of the things that I mean, a scatter gun can be very hard to miss, right? Like it's very easy to hit somebody. Yeah. So disruptor pistols. So pistols need a better aim drag than other weapons. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, but there's not really drag mechanics so much in Dune, right? Like there's literally not any, right? Like I'm have this big heavy weapon, and there's no muzzle drag, right? Like I can instantly turn with any weapon, and so maybe that's again outside of, but like maybe we can add this. Oh, it does. So one of the weapons has drag. Yeah, it does. Okay. All right. So drag is already in the game. Excellent. Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, we're gonna have to add that into some of these weapons. Thank you, Talith. Thanks, man. That kind of makes me feel like. It doesn't make me feel like. It really indicates. It strongly indicates that the pie rocket was undercooked. Because it's definitely considered a heavy weapon. But it shouldn't be instant. Yeah, it actually has drag. Okay, so yeah, so we can add muzzle drag to some of these. Anything else for the disruptor pistol? Shell breaking, short to medium range, high damage, low rate of fire. I think we're fine with that. It's essentially a heavy pistol, so yeah, I think we're good. And then we could also do low rate of fire here. All right, I think we're good with we've completed step one. I feel like an ent right now. Like we have agreed that hot take. Krabby says maybe to make pistols better, more drag on other guns, but people might be really mad at that. No, I mean I think there should be on some of these weapons. Honestly, I've been thinking that. I thought it was outside of. I forgot or. I probably forgot or didn't realize in the first place, but that the some of the heavy weapons do have drag on them, which is also like wild, right? That yeah. Okay. Well, let's. Does anybody have a weapon they want to start with, or are we okay with starting with the kind of in the middle with our base weapons? Maybe we'll start there, no matter what, and then if we want to move on, we can. Plasma can has a lot of drag. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's same weapon type. So the Vulcans do. Flamethrower as well. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Let us start with what do we got? We want to start with like a Karpov. Yeah, let's start with the Karpovs. Do we start a new? Do we start a new? I think we do. Start a new sheet. That might be annoying. We'll see. Let me get back to base real quick, so I don't die of thirst here. I'd like to see some drag on some of these heavier weapons then. Now that you guys point that out. I'd really like to see, that's a great point. I'd like to see some drag on some of these heavier weapons. Okay. Let's get back into this. So, we have Karpovs. So, Karpovs, what do we got? We got Indara's Lullaby. Is that how you spell lullaby? I have no idea. Is that how you spell Indara's? I also don't know that. 2 L's. There we go. Indara's Lullaby. We have... What's the explosive one? I can't remember what it's called. I'm so bad with names. Oh, yikes. There's so many of them. Seleucid Vengeance. Yeah, Seleucid Vengeance. That's what it is. Seleucid Vengeance. Are there more? Do we have more? Is that it? Seleucid? I don't know. Anything else? Can we think of anything else? So it's the two main ones. So Indara's Lullaby. So we agree that the Karpov should be the general assault weapon, the default. Everything should be balanced around this. So what I would say, and maybe we can also do like, maybe let's do Karpovs, and then we'll make this kind of the heading here, and then we'll, I don't know, subheadings. Cool. So Karpovs in general, I would argue. So right now the meta weapons we've already gone over, but they're the triple shot and they're the shotguns. I think that damage is okay. I think the damage on those weapons is good. So I would say that damage should be increased to that of the Regis triple shot. Anybody disagree with that? I guess this is a particular weapon. Capitalize those. All right, so I think that all of these should be increased to the damage of the Regis triple shot. I think that the Seleucid Vengeance here, the main shtick, I think, with the Seleucid Vengeance is that it does explosive rounds. So we could say that the Seleucid Vengeance does, it has explosive rounds and I would say, what is the purpose of the explosive rounds? I don't know. For AoE at medium range with tightly packed enemies. Does this make sense to me? Is this a niche that ever needed to be filled? No, not really, honestly. But that's what it should be good at, okay? It should do pretty good damage. Now, what does that mean? So the net effect of that is that this weapon, the explosive damage should... I don't think there should be much fall off in a decent AoE size. So decent AoE size, and no, I'm gonna say no damage fall off until max AoE range. How about that? Seems good to me. And then just pretty much cut it off. When I say no, like it could be almost none. If we had a decent AoE size on this, which I think it's okay, but if the damage was increased, this would allow you to essentially, and we're also assuming that, like, there should be high rate of fire in here. It should be over here. So there's, it should already have a decently high rate of fire, decent AoE, and then you can use this from like medium range. I don't know. That seems like pretty reasonable to me of what we should expect. Concussive bonus or shrapnel bleed? Yeah, I like concussive. Yeah, I think, concussive damage makes sense. That's what these could do, is they could do concussive damage. The only issue with this is, like most PvP enemies, armor seems to give you a huge concussive damage reduction. In my experiments, if anybody has any different data, I'd love to hear it, but that's been my experience. So this might not be incredibly effective against players. However, that's kind of not necessarily the worst thing, because you don't want this essentially assault weapon to be the go-to for fighting 4v4 in a testing station. I know that doesn't really happen anymore, but just dream with me here. So I think that makes sense. I don't know. I like that's to me this is all that needs to be done. We don't need to overcomplicate this. Is kind of what I'm feeling. The Andara's Lullaby. The Andara's Lullaby is currently the best by a long shot of the Karpov weapons. Is there not a third one? In my head, there's a third one. Let me see. There's the lightning gun. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. So let me see. We're just going to look at Karpov style weapons. There's one here. Experimental lightning gun. Andara's Lullaby. That is it. That must be it. Unless there's one that we just don't use because it's not graded. Solution images. Yeah, that is it. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Andara's Lullaby. So this thing fires 3-round bursts. I know we talked about like people would like a, we'll put high/versatile rate of fire because I know that you guys mentioned earlier. Yeah, maybe the Angry Adler too. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and actually we can put that on here. That's a great point. I keep saying Adler. It's Adder. An Adler is a German word for a eagle for everybody. And it's also a German last name. All right, Andara's Lullaby. Let's actually maybe we should talk about what the Adder is, what it does. So currently, it's actually pretty good. So this weapon, you guys are gonna does comparable damage to a Regis triple shot. It already does this. So we have one weapon. And I'm also talking about unaugmented. Augments are like a separate conversation to have that we can talk about. But that's kind of outside. So full auto. Full auto. It low recoil. What else does it have? It's precise. Yeah. I would also add that. I should add that over here. These are precise weapons. Maybe I should put accurate since we're talking about weapons. We're precision versus accuracy, but we'll say that. I'm not. Some people will use precision and accuracy in relation to weapons, and it's always a little bit weird to me because that's not the lexicon I've been used to determine between those things. Like, so grouping versus your overall accuracy. But yeah, basically, it fires where you point it is the main thing. That's what we're talking about right now. It fires where you point it. So I think that's an accurate description of the Angry Adder here. I'll try not to add the L. I'll get so many YouTube comments. All right. So, it has the full auto. You can just fire one, so it does kind of give you somewhat. It doesn't do burst shots. It has low capacity, which is kind of annoying. I feel like it should have. I think it's only a 20-round mag, isn't it? I don't know why it doesn't have like a little bit larger mag. Honestly, I would like to see a little bit larger mag. We'll put needs larger mag. And so with some of this stuff, so what we're suggesting here is that the damage is good, but we want a larger magazine. So what are they going to have to do? Add more capacity, probably increase the rate of fire, and then probably decrease the damage per shot. All of those things would be fine. Yeah, that checks all those boxes. So what does the Andara's Lullaby do? So this is a weapon that basically does a bunch of burst shots, and it is very accurate. I don't understand what the purpose of the Andara's Lullaby is, to be totally honest, besides like it's kind of the default. Maybe we could just call it that. Maybe it's just the default. But then, like, how does that compare to the Angry Adder here? with the 3 burst shots. I don't know what differentiates these two weapons. Like really, and we can like go pull one out too, just so you guys can get to see this. So let me show you the Seleucid Vengeance, and I'll show you both of them. Indara's Lullaby. Okay. All right, so we'll just put these here. So the Seleucid Vengeance, you can kind of see that it does. Can I hurt myself? Yeah, there we go. You can now see that I can hurt myself if I get close enough, which is it's kind of annoying. But I actually think that the AoE range on that is actually too small. So I would actually like to see it have increased. So I think it needs decent AoE size, like needs increase. What do you think for a like? So we need to be able to damage enemies that are standing near each other. I'm assuming it's the same for when it hurts you. I'm just watching my health. Okay, we can hurt ourselves if we're. That's pretty close. You know what? That's okay. I think that's okay. It looks a little odd staring down the barrel, but that's actually okay. I think the radius on this is actually fine. Yeah. Theory Carver says, I'd really like to see Indara's Lullaby to apply a poison, or even its last burst before reload be a sleep, subject to diminishing returns. Oh, that's fun. I think the problem with, well, the new weapon is going to apply poison, so that unfortunately that's probably not going to happen. You know what they could do is, you know what it could be is like the Indara's Lullaby. I don't know. The other one's full auto. Like this one's firing 3-round bursts, but the other one's like full auto. So I don't. It's just a little bit weird. I don't know what to recommend. Before the Angry Adder, like I guess one of them is full auto, so it's a different play style. So you can just press and hold. So it just feels a little bit different. That feels like a very minor distinction. I don't know what to recommend with this anymore. Also, the recoil in this is a little bit higher. And you've got 10 shots. 30-round mag, which makes sense. I don't know why the Angry Adder. I guess the poison on it, but the poison is useless. So you know what? You know what we could say? Because we'd like dots fixed. I know what the difference is. I know what we need to do here. So, and then, like, we might need to just have a whole conversation about dots. What do you guys feel about dots? Let's pause and let's talk about dots real quick. What do you guys want to see with dot damage? Because right now it's useless. We're going to put dot damage. Let's just talk about it. I mean, we know it needs to be better because right now it's garbage. Part of the reason I think it is garbage is because in PvE or PvP, it's gonna be broken. Yeah, if they scale it up for PvE, then PvP it's gonna be broken. So we need some sort of like, I don't know, blades to bleed a lot more. I'd like to see its damage lowered in its ticks, but maybe increase its duration. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe we can just say more damage. Maybe it's just simple as that, and then we maybe have. How long do they last? Do you know, Theory? And then we need something to reduce the damage in PvP for dots. Or increase it in PvE. We're just going to put that. We're just going to leave it for there. We don't need to solve all the world's problems right now. This doesn't make sense though, guys. Can I just say that? So you have here this weapon. there's just so the Angry Adder here is a full auto weapon, but it applies poison. But you're constantly hitting the enemy because that's how you do damage with this weapon. It would make a lot more sense for the Andara's Lullaby with the burst to apply poison. If you hit him with a 3-round burst and you hit all 3 shots, it applies the poison. Like, that would make a lot more sense. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you sit, so I think the stream froze. Sorry. I'm struggling here, guys. I don't know what to do with these. They kind of did something weird here, is basically what it comes down to. Like, this weapon is really exciting because it actually does decent damage. But I think that this should be changed to a full round burst. That's what we're going to go with. Change to a 3-round burst. And I think we're good. Change to, we're going to go with full auto. Increase damage. Well, we already have that kind of above. Is there anything else we want to see? Talos says, I want an auto file that has high recoil but good accuracy that you need to hold on target to headshot. Full auto rifle, yeah. All right. That's funny, Ref. Yeah, so Talos said, I want a full auto rifle that has high recoil but a good accuracy that you need to hold on target for headshots. Yeah, I like that idea. So, I mean, the Andara's Lullaby could be it. I mean, I think it has the recoil. Wouldn't you agree? We could say keep recoil slightly high. I think this falls into that what you're looking for, Talith. Does it not? If we change the Andara's, because it has, I don't know. I tested this out on PTC, but I feel like, I mean, this 3-round burst, it just feels like it has more recoil. Right now, all these weapons just miss after 10 shots. Yeah. Did you find that with the adder as well? Yeah. Well, and I also think they could change this. Like, I think it would make a lot more sense for the adder to be the 3-round burst and the Andara's to be the full auto. Adder misses real bad, especially while strafing. You saw that and said as much, I think. Yeah, I don't. It's been. Maybe I did. I didn't think the adder was as bad as some of the other weapons. I thought the Andara's is like pretty good for strafing. I don't know if I ever was like trying to get headshots with it. I don't know if that was ever like a thing I was incredibly concerned about. If you don't move, the adder looks good. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's another like factor. So interesting. Yeah, I don't know how they separated all these things in the game code, honestly. All right, well, I think this is good here. I don't think there's anything else we need to do. I think these are fine for the Karpovs. Let's move on. If anybody has anything else, we can come back, but I think we can move on. Where you say you owned all the guns in the game. If so, how many are there? Yeah, I have them all. I don't know right now. Rev. I mean, all the guns in the game, like I have all the uniques. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we talking about guns? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 7, 28, 29. Looks like about 30, and that's including melee weapons. Yeah. Not to get bogged down, but they have different values for every state: crouch, walk, suspended, etc. Everything is there. They can change the values. Oh, okay. Cool. No, that's good to know, man. So a fair amount. I can only craft like 5. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that keeping everything like relatively low recoil is good. I don't know. I don't really have too much else to say. On a lot of these, a lot of it comes down to, if you play with all these weapons a lot, they all feel different. And then the only problem is that all but the top 4, 2 of which are shotguns, one of which is a heavy weapon, which has severe disadvantages, and the 2 shotguns have severe advantages, do 2/3 the damage of everything else. is what a lot of this comes down to. And it's kind of bad. Okay, so let's move on. What else do we want to talk about? Anybody else want to talk about something in particular? Their favorite weapon here? Want to chat about? Let's talk about sniper rifles. And we'll talk about the Regis triple shot. Because I have thoughts. I bet Talith is going to have some thoughts too. So sniper rifles, where do we find those at? I don't know. I bet there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, don't change the triple shot. But I think it really needs to be changed. So let's talk about the Regis triple shot. We'll put that under here. Regis triple shot, and then the actual Dune Watcher, the actual sniper rifle. Yeah. I think the Blind Fury is what the triple shot should have been. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Let's put the Blind Fury on here too. Might as well add the new weapons. That makes sense. I agree. Okay, so Regis triple shot. It's not a sniper rifle. It's just not. You put like, it doesn't make any sense. It shoots 3 rounds, 3 barrels. It's a shotgun. Yeah. It's I mean, we could say it's a slug shotgun. Yeah. So I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if it's a slug shotgun. It's like because it's really just like a rifle, but shoots 3 shots, which does make it a shotgun. Should have much shorter range. Should have much shorter range. We'll call that short to mid. If you're carrying a rifle, can you guys imagine carrying a rifle with 3 barrels on it? That's going to be heavy as shit. It's a 3-shot rifle. Yeah. So I would say, like, it's got to have some barrel, so it's got to have some muzzle. Like, there's got to be some issues with sway on it, muzzle sway. How do we want to say that? Yeah, sniper rifles with one barrel are heavy. Yeah, exactly. Which is why it feels like more like a shotgun to me. It's just kind of crazy. Like it's just like left field. It's just I don't even understand. Theory Carver says I hate to say it, for I will be tar and feathered, but its damage needs to be pulled back for its damage per minute to be on par with Dune Watcher's damage per minute. No, absolutely. Yeah, not gonna lie, rework from ground up for me. Yeah, it just doesn't make any fucking sense, is what it comes down to. Keystring a 3-barrel sniper rifle is not what my character wants to do. Yeah, it just okay. All right, okay. So I don't know. I'm okay. I agree with the ground up rework. We can put that in here. It just doesn't make any. It just doesn't make any sense. It just really doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, increased drag. Increased drag. Okay. Increased drag and recoil. I'm with you on that. I think it should have. So, I think it should have high damage, right? I would say. I mean, it's shooting 3 shots. Like, I would say. Let me see. So short to mid range. So should have a more shorter range. Short to mid with high damage fall off. That seems reasonable. Right now, damage fall off is kind of doesn't make any sense to me in the game. By the way, there's a lot of things that how they treat like effective range is not it's not what effective range is, which bugs me as someone who is a little bit more into realism in games. I like it if shots weren't randomly dispersed and fired in a line or something. Oh, they are. Okay. I didn't know that. Shots in a line, not I don't know how to spell dispersed, apparently. Yeah. Or balance its damage output with an obscene long reload time. Elephant gun that does poison. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It just really doesn't. I agree with that. A little bit of consistent in the universe logic is a good thing. Need to be internally consistent at least, and a bit of realism can go a long way here. Yeah, yeah. What else? What else do we want? It's crazy and awesome and kind of amazing, guys, that we can all be like, this is objectively the best weapon in the game, and we're all like, it needs a rework. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Punch through would be good too. You want to see it like you want to have it like over penetration. It's where you can hit multiple targets. That's interesting. So that's going to be outside of the scope, but we can put it on here. We call it over penetration usually. We should talk about the elephant in the room. They haven't fixed the las gun orny surfing since launch. Ultra, they're trying to fix it right now, man. I don't know. They talked about it during the creator call. So if they haven't fixed it, it's because they're failing, but they're trying. So the reason we're talking about this stuff is because they haven't fixed this shit since launch either, but they also haven't ever like addressed it. They are saying on the PTC they are still working on it. Okay. well, what's frustrating is like the las gun. Las gun is the problem. Surfing on the ornithopters is actually incredibly fun. Because the las, it's easy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Okay, so what do we got here? So rework for the ground up. It doesn't make any sense. Not a sniper rifle. It's a slug shotgun, I guess, with 3 barrels. I guess it's yeah. Hold on, we can say it's a 3-barrel slug shotgun. Should have much shorter range, short to mid range with high damage fall off. Should have increased drag and recoil. Yeah, you got fucking 3. You're fine. The recoil on this, it should be insane. Like really, it really should be. It just should be crazy. What up, George? Leave the triple shot alone. It's the one weapon in the game that feels good. Yeah, man. Well, we want all the other weapons. We want the triple shot damage to be like the go-to. But the weapon itself doesn't make any sense, man.
Hi.
All right, we got a couple of hungry rabbits. Oh, we're out of treats. Stop. Hey. We're fighting with our friends because we all want treats and we think we're not going to get them. All right, treats have been handed out. The natives are still probably restless. All of this for characters that can't even have 300 HP currently. Yeah, it makes sense. So an Orny going. Yeah, dude. No, ornithopter surfing going like 240 kilometers per hour is totally. I'm pretty sure there's some kids that have done that on YouTube. No, that's fair, man. That's fair. My only issue with ornithopter surfing is that it's like janky, but it's like fun jank. And I think that I wish more games would like be more okay with fun jank. But the last gun issue is an issue. What I would propose is that the vehicles have shields like they do in the books and the movies. And that would solve the problem, right? To a large degree. And if they need to do something in the meantime to fix it, I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? All right. So let me see. Overpin. Let's Regis triple shot, right? Like, it's pretty confusing. It should be a shotgun. I don't know. Are we good here? Do we need anything else? You know what? We want higher damage. What do we want for the damage? I would say increase the damage to. Honestly, it should have more stagger too. Actually, I think it should have like high stagger. I would say comparable to current scatterguns. And I also think the scattergun should probably be reduced. Because a buckshot does not provide as much stagger as slugs do. Are you guys with me on that? Like, you're shooting something with some slugs, and you're going to get some knockback. You shoot something with a bunch of buckshot, you don't get as much because all the energy is dispersed. Keep the owners, yeah, exactly. Keep the owner surfing, just make it you can't use a weapon while doing it. Yeah. Gal says, boarding party type combat makes sense. Just fix the las gun issue. Yeah. It looks like a lot of us are on that page. Overpin and stagger shouldn't coexist. Either one or the other. Well, you're the one who suggested overpin. You don't think it should stagger? I mean, I guess you have a point. Projectiles need to be different from one to the other. Okay. I mean, I could get behind that. Shouldn't stagger if it's a rifle. It should stagger. Well, I'm saying it's a shotgun. I already said it's a shotgun. It's not a rifle. Like, it's just not. I don't know. A rework from the ground. I don't know. We could argue about which direction they should go, but anything with 3 barrels just doesn't make any sense to me. I'll ask you this, Rodrigo. Name me a weapon with 2 barrels. Because the only weapon that I'm aware of is a double-barreled shotgun. So a triple-barrel shotgun is like an interesting idea that doesn't really make sense, but sure. Well, calm down. I'm passionate about shotguns, Lyriel. Hey, I'm not getting worked up. I don't know if Lyriel's serious or joking. Do I sound like really upset? Okay, loud then. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm yelling. Am I yelling in the room? My bad. Maybe I should take my headphones off so I don't yell quite as much. I do sound upset. Some guns have grenade barrel attachments. Yeah. Generally, well, some of those are, yeah. But that's not like a double barrel, right? Like, it's still like the yeah, like the I was like, "Oh, what's happening?" No, that's all. I'm sorry. I'm not upset at all, guys. Hopefully everybody knows that. Sorry, Lyriel. You know what's funny, Lyriel? Just so you know, that there's another YouTuber that has the same problem with their husband yelling on YouTube while they're streaming, and they have to be told to be quiet sometimes. I at least feel like I'm in good company. Yeah, so let me make sure I got all of... So Rodrigo said, I just want to read all of his comments here. He had several. Overpin and stagger shouldn't coexist, either one or the other. Projectiles need to be different from one to the other. It shouldn't stagger if it's a rifle. It should stagger if it's a shotgun. So I in general, it's hard for me to agree with this. Like, it should stagger if it's a shotgun. I'm sure you're probably familiar. If you're not, a sniper rifle, you can kill like a modern, like, large caliber sniper rifle. You can kill someone without actually hitting them with a bullet. Just the wake of the bullet going near their head can be enough to kill somebody. And if you do actually hit somebody with a sniper rifle round, like a 50 cal round or something, they're not okay. They're not okay at all. There are probably some war movies that depict this like accurately. So that's kind of like the basis. So in that case, like someone getting hit with like a large caliber sniper rifle, yeah, it'll definitely do some knockback. But you're probably talking about more like a normal, like, assault or hunting rifle type weapon. Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing the damn arena to miss that. Oh, you're good, man. You're good. Yeah, good. Yeah. This is Dune, thousands of years in the future. They have drill shots and Holtzman shields. Why not a 3-barrel weapon? Nothing wrong with a 3-barrel weapon. I'm just saying, like, it kind of... Usually a shotgun is what you would... Why would you make a 3-barrel rifle? Like, I'm just struggling to... And how do you balance that with everything else? I like that you guys are disagreeing with me. I like that we're having some back and forth here. it's just hard for me to imagine that there's a like so normally so usually if you're going with like multiple barrels. Sorry, I got to keep feeding these rabbits. So normally, if you're going like modern day, if you're going with multiple barrels, and we're not talking about like under barrel like grenade launcher type attachments. If you're going with multiple barrels, I mean, normally if with a rifle you just go with a higher, right? You just go with a higher caliber bullet, and then your rifles are medium to long range weapons, and so that's what you're going for. And so you want something to be fairly accurate. I don't know. Why doesn't one already exist? Maybe there's no use case for it? Because we could make it now. Research two-barreled rifles existed in the 1800s to hunt in Africa, but it wasn't widely used because it sucks to reload. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I guess if you want to make sure you get enough damage on your target and you're not that accurate, which in the 1800s they were not. Interesting. Or 1800s, is that also like muzzle loaders? I don't know. Double muzzle loader? I'm not sure. All right, we need to keep moving. I'm sorry. Regis triple shot, there is some discussion. I almost think there's two versions. Let's make two versions. Let's call it... So we'll do the Regis triple shot. And then we'll put rifle version. And then we'll put shotgun version. I'm too non-United States to know everything about guns. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's okay, man. I mean, I wasn't trying to give you a hard time. I really wasn't. I really appreciate the feedback. And the discussion, man. Apparently I sounded heated, and I wasn't. I don't know why I would get heated about this. There's nothing to get heated about for me, at least. All right. So let me see if this. So Ground Up Rework has a not a sniper rifle. It's a 3-barrel slug shotgun. Should have a much shorter range. Yeah, should have a much shorter range. So I would also say that like overpin and stagger are fine being together. Maybe that's too powerful. I would also say that overpin isn't possible right now, the way I understand it in the game. There would probably have to be some intentional coding to make overpin possible. So this is outside of our parameters. So this would be something we'd want to drop. Should have a much shorter range, short to mid with high damage fall off. I'm still very much behind that. Should have increased drag and recoil. I think the recoil should be crazy. Yeah. Shots fired in a line, not randomly dispersed. That was per Talith. I could also see like a pyramid distribution as well would be fine, but the Regis triple shot as it stands is obviously it's in a line. I'm gonna leave all that. Let's make the rifle version. George says maybe they intended to mix things up. The spreading pattern reduces damage on long range, which makes it pretty versatile. Yeah, George, what I would say to that, man, is like with a lot of this stuff, I'm going to be honest, and I do this a lot, I think we're assigning a lot of intention, and there's just not any. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there was an original idea with the triple shot, and I think you might be thinking that they're playing, oh, don't worry. That's the joke that crash landed. Oh, okay. Well, I know I got the United States thing. I caught that was you were joking, but yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the spread. Okay, so let's talk about the rifle version. Okay, all right, now we're keeping it a rifle. Yeah, 100% agree there. There's a lack of personal direction on the part of the devs. Yeah, I actually reached out to a friend of mine who works for a large company, a large games company, they don't exactly work for a company that they have business to business. They're in the games industry, but they're a business to business company, is what I want to say. At least what he does. And I literally reached out to him about some of this stuff, and I was like, hey man, because I like to, I ask people questions, and I was just like, here's the thing that I see, and I see it happen with so many games. And it's hard to understand how some features of the game can be so well done, and then some can be so poorly done. And oftentimes we try to like assign rationale to why it is. And I think, and that's not a bad thing, but I do think that what it actually comes down to is far too often. And I don't want this to be by default go-to. I do want to assume that there are intelligent, competent people on the other side, but a lot of times it's just like a lot of companies are poorly run and they do things not very great. Like, I know that about companies in general. I don't know why I assume something much different about games companies, but it's usually kind of true. So there's something in game design called the law of cool. Yeah, rule of cool. If it's cool, put it in the game. Yeah. The rule of cool. That dates back to tabletops, I believe. I think that's where that originally started from. And it was, should you allow your players to do something if it doesn't even if it doesn't fit within the rules? And it's like, well, if it's the rule of cool. Oh no, you got them on TTRPGs. No, triple shot. All right, triple shot. So let me see. What do we want with the triple shot? It's Discussions Guide Committee. Yeah. All right, so Regis triple shot. What are we doing here? I think solid mid range. That's fine. Have no issues with mid range. It's still going to have high recoil, which I think it does. Still fine with shots. Fire in a line. Yeah. What else? I think, yeah, high damage output, long reload time, which I don't think it has currently. What does it have? 1.8 seconds. Isn't that the same as most of these other weapons? Yeah, it's the same. So I think I'd like to see a longer reload time on this. Would you guys agree? I would like to... We could keep the damage similar. Yeah. Oh, decisions by committee. Yeah, it can be a problem. Absolutely. I think it needs a longer reload time. I think it should be high burst damage. How do you guys see the triple shot? How do we compare this to... How do we compare the damage on the triple shot to what we want our base to be, which is where the current triple shot is at? I think... I don't know. Do you have it the same and it's just very bursty? I would almost say it does more damage, but does less sustained damage, personally. Like, more burst and actually does less damage than a... I like the idea of making it bursty, yeah. Neo Carthage Arena is for sure decisions by deadline. What a dumpster fire. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. I don't know. What else? You guys were passionate about this weapon. Are we done with it? Do we move on? We're moving on. We're moving on. Nobody's got anything else to say about it. Dune Watcher. What do we got with the Dune Watcher? The Dune Watcher is honestly kind of fine. I would like to see higher damage. What is the Dune Watcher even? What's the damage on the Dune Watcher? The Dune Watcher is really hard to use. It should have some of the highest damage in the game. I'm thinking of this of like a modern, like, large caliber sniper rifle. That's what I'm thinking of. Thinking of this as. Oh, you know what? I don't have a Dune Watcher. I gave it away. We're gonna have to look over here. I forgot that I gave it away. I made it and I tested it, and then I gave it away to somebody who would use it more often. Yeah. Okay. 828. I don't think that's enough. What does the triple shot do? Yeah, the triple shot does more. I don't know. Yeah, I think I think it's got to do more damage. AK-50 win. Uh, yeah, like a 50 cal. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking of as. Like that to me is what I mean, it doesn't have to be, but um I would say so higher higher total damage. Did your auto mod for the overlay mod bursty? Oh man, it might have. Maybe it thought it was busty. I don't know. That's pretty funny. Can we give a 2x headshot multiplier? What's it currently at, Talith? Or do you want more for the Dune Watcher? You mean like an extra headshot? That dude, yeah, that's great. Yeah. Sure, man. 2x headshot multiplier. Dune Watcher, it's currently multiplied as 1.5. Okay. Is that normal? Is 1.5 what they are for most weapons? Big recoil, then like a 50 cal. Yeah. High damage, high recoil. Cool. Or bonus damage when crouching. I think that Faded, also Faded like Rotha. Oh my god, what a great name! It's an amazing name, man. Faded like Rotha. I think that instead of doing that exact thing, well, actually, I mean, Talith already said that there's already modifiers for all the different stances you could be in. I just think that they're like, I don't know. In most games, you can stand up and just headshot with like a pretty large rifle. I mean, if you've ever seen in any movie, that's not what anybody does. If you're trying to use a sniper rifle, you almost need to brace. I mean, there are people that can be very good shots. I've seen someone nail body shots at like 300 meters with a standard like assault rifle, like an M16. And that's pretty hard to do at various ranges and up to 300 meters and shoot perfectly while emptying like a couple of clips. It was pretty impressive. Yeah. So I'm just thinking about that. Like, it's pretty hard to do though. So in the game, like in theory, what you would say with a sniper rifle is you need to be crouching or you need to be whatever. I don't necessarily feel like that has to be the case though. That's kind of maybe a bit of too much realism is kind of what I'm thinking. Bonus damage while crouching or otherwise braced could be a way of doing it. Part of our, like, it would also be something if we do put it in here. We talked about this earlier, probably before you were in the stream, but we also talked about part of our design parameters is we don't want them to have to make new code because I just don't think that's going to happen. And so for those things, we wouldn't want, like, I'm not actually going to include that as like feedback, as like actionable feedback, but just like a, hey, this would be cool kind of thing. I'm not exactly sure how to work that in. But I think it's an interesting idea. Current damage is 71 per dart, 214 if you hit all three. We moved past the triple shot, George. Yeah. We're talking about the Dune Watcher now, I think. I enjoy it better than Chapter Two's Dinner Theater Murder Mystery when DNA tests already exist. Yeah. That's because the damage is split 60-40 head and body. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The damage is delivered in such a poor way. That's a good point. Maybe we should put on all of these up here, like. Pixel weight damage is communicated, i.e. 60-40 body headshot damage. Yeah, because that's incredibly confusing. Is that what it is? Oh, 1.5 is everything. Seed is 2. Shotguns are 1x. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, because shotguns don't do headshot. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so bringing this in line with, I mean, that makes sense. If that multiplier works for one thing, it should work for others. So I'm good with that. I would also like to see that headshot modifier applied to some of the, where were they at? Some of our light pistols, or maybe even our heavy pistols. I don't know. I think definitely our light pistols. I guess they're already on some of the heavy. Oh, is it head 60? Oh, my bad. Thanks. Thanks. Let me see. Theory Carver. Well, okay. We're joking there. I think Dune Watcher would be just fine if its damage was brought up to speed. Yeah. For some reason, DNA tests are illegal in Israel. I don't know why. Wow. Okay, so 2x headshot multiplier. Yeah, you think nothing else? Do you think we're good here, guys? High damage, high recoil. Is the recoil currently enough? Oh, I don't have one. That's what we just established. Maybe I have a lower tier one? Yeah, I do. Here we go. Grade 4 Dune Watcher. Yeah, that's not nearly enough. And then no scope. This is the same recoil. It needs much higher recoil. That's the same recoil as like the Karpov. Okay, so what do we want the damage to be here, though? Where would we like to see the? I would like to see the overall damage, because this is important. Like that, like I think a lot of these they just need damage changes, and I think that with a headshot multiplier, yeah, 2x, but I would still argue that. I don't know. I think it should be like, I would say 1 point. I would say damage equal 1.3. I don't know. What do we want to call it? What are we calling our base damage? Well, I don't know. We'll say base damage of Karpovs. Significantly higher. Are people just going to use the Dune Watcher everywhere? Yes. So that doesn't really work. Maybe the headshot damage, like if it's headshot, does that make sense, or does it need to be even with headshots? If you're scoring headshots, people are going to be able to no scope it is the problem. Right? Like you're going to be able to be on a boss and just like no scope it and hit headshots probably. Don't even use numbers, just things like more or way more. I don't think that's going to get us the result we want, man. Yeah, I'm trying to think. You know what it could be? It could just be like if you're moving. Oh, I know what it is. Talith already mentioned this. I know what it is. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think it is headshot damage that we want. At 1.3. And I think we want headshot. I need you guys to help me here. Headshot damage 1.3 base damage of Karpov. So that's another third damage just for the head. I think that works. I think that math works out. Like it's not on a spreadsheet, but I think that math works out. And then what we want is what do you call that? What do you call the handling of a weapon? God, I can't remember the name. Just like how it's not drag. I mean, you could say muzzle drag. Ergonomics, yeah. Or like maybe poor. Oh, I don't even know how you spell ergonomics. While moving. Oh, maybe very poor. There we go. And that would prevent people from just using this. Because what you don't want is you don't want people using this in a testing station as the go-to weapon. That just wouldn't make any sense. And they already had the Blind Fury is going to be the headshot of choice in those situations. I would almost say you could do more. I would like. We'll say at least. Yeah. All right, Blind Fury. Blind Fury, what do we want to do here? So, I'm like regretting this title. We're like almost 4 hours in, and I'm exhausted thinking about all this. We're going until we can't. All right. I like the idea of a shield breaking sniper. Yeah, would be fun in groups for a dedicated sniper. Yeah, I absolutely agree, man. Yeah, I think it would be cool. Stick your bonus on the scope then? Oh. Yeah. So you have to scope in? Well, I think what people could still do theory is they just pop in. They get the aim, they'd pop in, right? Like they'd be like, okay, cool, I'm aiming at they'd just be like, okay, I'm aiming at, that 3, and then they just do that. That's all they do. They just like, okay, I'm aiming at the Atreides symbol. All right. But I think it might already have it. As long as like it's really hard to aim while moving, like it's fine. You know what I mean? Yeah, as long as there's plenty of sway on it, it'll be fine. I like the idea of shield breaking. Yeah, sorry, I already read that one. Okay, so that's pretty good here. Blind Fury. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Blind Fury currently. Actually, I don't know what the damage is. I think the only thing that I really want them to do with the Blind Fury is to like make sure damage is on point. So damage, I think the damage should come out. So I think if you're doing a headshot build, it's harder. And I think that I think it's still like the 1 point. Like I think we can do this. I think we could literally just copy and paste. Like that's what oh my gosh, that's what I want to see. The only thing is, I'm fine with the Blind Fury being a little bit more easier to use, and I'd actually like to see this be even a little bit higher. So maybe this should be higher. If you can hit a headshot with a sniper rifle, but it should just be very hard to do. So maybe we say like 1.6, perhaps. I'm happy with that. All right, we've got 2 weapon classes down. I think I'm a liar, guys. I don't think I'm going to make it through all these weapons. All right. We might have to come back and revisit. How do you guys feel about that? What's the base Karpov changes? 3 does. Yeah, so it's like of I would say new Karpov, I guess. These are kind of notes for myself, which is the triple shot damage. I think so. What we base this on, George, is we said, hey, the triple shot, the shotguns, like the amount of damage output they do right now in PVE is good, and so let's just like use that as a baseline. So I want to bring the base Karpov damage up to that because I think Karpovs are the assault rifles. I think they're the generic weapons that work well, and I just think that they should. I just think that they should. That should be the default personally. And then I think that other weapons, more damage but shorter range, other disadvantages, other weapons with higher damage but there's other drawbacks to them. So that's kind of where that came from. So basically, yeah, keep this, keep it the same as the old triple shot, basically. Yeah. Would anybody feel betrayed if I lied? I don't know if we can get through all these. We'd be streaming all night long, and I'll be the only one here. I dug too deep. So we got triple shot. We got Karpovs. We got whatever. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. That's kind of what I'm feeling, Krabby. I appreciate it. Yeah. And then we can come back and we can talk about some of these because I have some strong feelings about what I'd like to see here and about where these want to be. So what I could just go through it briefly here for those that are still here. So I would really like to see the light. I mean, we talked about it. The lightning gun. I want it to be a shield breaking weapon. I think the core damage should go way down. I don't think it should be the only weapon you can use. I think with these, with Bashar's command, I would like to see this damage go up dramatically. It already has all these drawbacks. It already has drawbacks of, the amount of, the muzzle sway on it, just being able to get it on target takes a lot of time. I would like to see just the damage go up. And I think not even necessarily increasing the damage per bullet, but increasing the overall rate of fire potentially and increasing the overall magazine size so that you can fire it for a long time. And then they could even increase the reload time even more, which might feel really bad. I don't know. But I would like to see all of that done in a way so that the overall damage on it goes up. I think the Bashar's command should be, besides the new weapon, it should be the highest damage output weapon on a given person. Save las guns, maybe. Save las guns. Like, I just think it should, right? That's what it seems designed for. I think the plasma cannon should do largely the same thing, but I think it should have a shield-breaking focus. I would also like to see both of these weapons. They do an okay job of staggering, but I think if we increase the rate of fire and increase the magazine size, it'll do the trick. For the flamethrowers, I would like to see these to be a dot weapon. I would like them to apply dots at least as well as NPCs do, which is they light you on fire in 1 second. Literally 1.1 seconds is how long it takes. I would like to see, this is outside of the scope of what we're going to get. The damage has to go up on them. That's a big deal. The damage just has to go up. It's not great right now. We could talk about the individual flamethrowers. I could see the Glasser has a shorter range. I could see that being a short range. And the, whatever the other one is called, Cauterizer? No, that's the melee weapon. Whatever the other one is, has a longer range. That's fine. Bashar's command needs a bleed. Vulcans have good augs for capacity and fire rate. Gal, their overall damage is low. Their overall damage is lower, though, man. Their damage needs to go up. So I would like to see it go up, and then you can put those augs on even more, and those could be ways of increasing their damage. But right now, their damage is low. The damage has to go up, and I think it'll make the weapon feel better if by default that fire rate goes up more. That's just my 2 cents. Lasgun, I think Lasgun just needs to limit its effectiveness against against vehicles. I don't know. It's pretty damn fun shooting a lasgun at a vehicle, but I think vehicles should have shields. Lasgun to me feels like it should largely be unshielded enemies if you can make that happen. But I think that lasgun is fine being a breach weapon for bases. Yeah. The vaporizer, yeah. That's that. Thanks. Yeah. Shatan's tongue. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I think Shatan's tongue is this the tier 5 or something, right? Something like that. Yeah. Long blades, short blades. So I think that what they should do to fix melee, or I'm sorry, I think what they should do to fix. I think that what they should do to fix melee and PvP right now, fix PvP right now, is roll back all of the graded weapons, roll back their shield damage to what it was at T6. That's what they need to do. That is by far the easiest thing to fix melee damage, or to fix PvP. I mean, what am I saying? That's what they need to do to fix it. Roll back shield damage. You can still kill people in one shot once you get through their shield. You know, depending on how they're spec'd and everything else, you can still kill them. The time to kill has gone down drastically after the shield is broken. There is a lot more complex and important stuff that they need to do to balance everything, but all of that requires a ton of work and a ton of rebalancing. And the easiest thing to do is to just simply roll back all of the shield damage. And that would put the game at a playable state. Reduce the stam regen delay. I could, yeah. I think part of the issue with that is that there's a heavy armor meta that's a problem. Yeah, health never scaled. Yeah. Especially using the breathing. I don't know. It doesn't feel horrible to me, Gal. It really doesn't. But I don't get to PvP that much. And when I do, it's low stakes, generally. For melee weapons, they need more damage. And this is largely a Dune specific thing. Melee weapons need a little, not a lot, but they need a little bit more damage. I mean, that's what most of these weapons need. They just need more damage. But melee weapons need more damage. You know, certain specific melee weapons, like the static needle and the new leech's maw or something, those all also need to take shields down better. Currently, it takes like 1,000 hits to break a shield with those weapons, and it could be higher. It should be higher. So I'd like to see that. Bleeds also on these weapons need to be stronger. On all the melee weapons, just in general, need to be stronger. Missile launcher, I mean, I think we covered it pretty well. I think that literally have a safety feature where it just won't fire at short range. You don't fire a missile launcher in a room that you're standing in. That makes sense. I don't think anybody can really complain about that too much, to be totally honest with you. I think there should be a minimum range for the missile launcher. If people want to still spam rockets, they can do so, but it forces them to be at a certain range, which is inconvenient. I think that's interesting gameplay and would probably be fine. Maybe it won't, but I think it's worth a shot. Shotguns should... So shotguns have the highest damage, the highest, like the best stagger, and recoil doesn't even matter on them because you're just vaguely pointing in the right direction. That's too strong. something needs to give. And I think that reducing the overall damage on the scatterguns to account for the fact that they have amazing stagger would be a reasonable trade-off. I think that is, there might be other trade-offs, but I think that's pretty reasonable. Sniper rifles here. More damage on the sniper rifle. I think a little bit more. It's at a good spot. I thought Talith's point of like 2x headshot damage, great idea. Love that. I don't think there's really anything else. A shield breaking version would be cool. They could release that in future patches. Not something they need to do now. But I think that they already have stuff in the game that indicates that we'll probably get a energy version of most of these weapons. Missile, friendly fire, stagger, and damage. Yeah. They kind of went away from that, Gal, so they're probably not going to go back to it. So I don't dislike the suggestion. I just don't think they're going to do it. So, Pyrocket. This weapon feels amazing to use until you look at the enemy's health and you realize it's not going anywhere. Would love to see more damage out of this. It does stagger. It's a very bursty weapon. I think the damage could still stay high. It's a great weapon. It just needs a little bit more damage. That's all we need here. And honestly, 3 shots feels pretty bad with the reload time. So it's kind of like a weapon you fire 3 times and then you do other things is what it feels like to me most of the time. I would love to see being able to mod this a little bit to make it feel a little bit better. So I don't know. I think damage, maybe more capacity so that you could fire it more than 3 times before you had to reload. I don't know. But I could be convinced either way on that part. It just needs more damage. Otherwise, it feels really great to use. Drill shots are actually kind of okay now. If you can mod them correctly, they actually work pretty well. They could maybe use a little bit of a damage buff, but maybe not too much. That 2x headshot damage, even without combat perks, will most likely one-shot. I'm fine with that on a sniper rifle, though. Are you talking about... Because I mean, the Seed already does that. I feel like most people, like, that feels appropriate. Maybe it's from other games I played, but it feels appropriate to me. George? Submachine guns. Shield-breaking weapons, very short range. I don't think that these really need to be changed, to be totally honest with you. I think they already work pretty well. I think if they did actually roll back the shield damage on all the weapons, that it could be an issue because they might be like just the go-to weapon, and that might need to be addressed. So I'd have to put some more thought into the submachine guns. Light pistols. Light pistols here. So these are not used at all. I would like to see them be low recoil weapons that you could do headshots with, I think is the main thing. I think that other weapons like heavy pistols have really high drag, but are not that hard to use. So it's just kind of like the other weapons need more drawbacks to make these worth using is kind of what it comes down to me. I would like to see these with like very low recoil though, where you could just like pin a bunch of headshots with them. And they're like a short to maybe medium range option with very low recoil. And what you could do is you could make these light pistols, especially like the full auto ones, you could make those an alternative to using the heavy pistols, which fire like slowly, but have like crazy recoil and have a lot of muzzle drag and other issues with them while you're moving and in different stances. The light pistols could not have all those things. And I haven't played with these enough to really know because, again, the light pistols damage sucks. So their damage does just need to come up in general. But I would like to see that come up. And then the difference between like a light pistol and using the Blind Fury or using the Seethe is should be recoil. They should be easier to use while having those really nice features of like low recoil. So it would be like, oh, you can do headshot build, and it's just easier to use, but it does less damage because of that. Not a ton less damage, but less damage. And so what would happen is people could start here if they wanted to, and then I'm sorry guys, I just realized I'm a dork that you guys can't see part of this. There we go. And so I think that would make this an alternative and make this weapon actually useful. Not incredibly useful, but somewhat useful. Heavy pistols, I think they're going to be in a good place. We've got a new heavy pistol coming out that does good damage. And I don't really think that a ton has to be done. The biggest issue is the heavy pistol occupies right now, or the new one occupies the same spot that the Regis triple shot does currently, which is a little bit odd to me, to be totally honest with you. Disruptor pistols. Yeah, I think the disruptor pistol is fine. I don't think there's anything broken with it, honestly. I think it just does too much base damage. The base damage of it should go down. The shield damage on it is fine. It should one-shot shields. That's actually... I mean, if they reduce everything back to the way it was, maybe it two-shots them. But, like, this could be one of the few weapons that could one-shot shields, and I'd be okay with it. I don't know. I could also see making the break point right around the point where you one-shot. And so if someone has, like, all the gear and properly spec'd, it wouldn't one-shot their shield. But if they had, like, a lower-tier shield, it would. So around that 1,000 damage, I think... is where I'd like shield damage is where I'd like to see the disruptor pistol. And then dots, I think we would all like to see dots do more damage because right now they're useless, but again, that's going to be a problem in PvE. So maybe some scaling on health or something else. And I think that's my 2 pennies on all of that. That was a lot. All right. Guys, we've been going for 4 hours, and it's been kind of intense. It's been a lot of doing stuff. So I think we might just call it here for tonight. Tomorrow we're going to be back, and we're going to be playing the new testing station and farming up gear. I think we're going to do some stuff with the guild. And then tomorrow during the day, I'm actually going to be playing Civ 7 during the day tomorrow. And hopefully it's good. And if it is, we'll be playing it most of the day tomorrow, starting about noon. Yeah. Right, balancing abilities next. Faded. I was actually thinking, I want it to be on the list, man. I was actually thinking that it could be fun and to make it like lighten things up just a little bit. As I was thinking we could balance all of these, the uniques that don't do anything. Like the Impure Extractor, which is a great idea, but works horribly in practice. So that's kind of where I'm at with maybe next. And then maybe after that we could go to abilities. Yeah. And the thing is that I'm trying to pick things that I think we can get done. So I say that both of those things I think are things that we probably won't get done in the short term. I don't think they have the development time for it right now. But it is things I'm looking at for the future, man. Yeah. I think we would do them for our own good, for our souls, if you will. But I like the idea, Faded. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, guys. Love the interaction. Love you guys' thoughts on this stuff. I really appreciate it. Sorry if I got too intense there. I didn't mean to. Rodrigo, my bad, man. But I certainly appreciate you guys. And I'm going to get this packaged up. And we'll see if we can send this off to the devs. And I will be sending them numbers, guys. When I make the video, I will be giving numbers. Because I think that I don't want more and less. I want them like, hey, do this. This is the number. I think it's I think it's like, how we're going to get the outcome we want, most likely. So he's a TP, he's a wigwam. Relax, man. You're 2 tenths. All right, guys. Thanks, Theory Carver. Have a great night, everybody. We'll catch you guys. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right. We're starting about noon my time, so that'll be 2 p.m. East Coast time and 11 a.m. West Coast. Or yeah, West Coast. Yeah. So we'll see you guys then. All right, guys. Peace. Over here.